All right. What is up, everyone? I got IDCrisis with me. He's going to teach me all about art.
I am all the things.
All of them. All of
Record time.
them. It's good to have you, man. We've been planning this for a little bit now. I appreciate you coming by.
I appreciate you inviting me. Yeah, I have been looking forward to it.
Me too, man. I've been drawing a lot. Cool Frog thinks it's been in preparation, but I don't know. I feel like I should just be drawing more.
Yeah. I mean, see, I found you through Cool Frog. Normally, when I find people who are doing art, I find them through like independent comics and manga um, accounts and like that on Twitter. I know you've
Hmm.
got. I know you've got one.
Yeah, I've got a Twitter. It's a dirty place to be.
That's what the front lines are like, man. The front lines are dirty, but that's where you have to be like other because you're either on the front lines or you're in an echo chamber. You're like, I have accounts on what are what are the other ones? I have accounts on Parlor and Getter and Gab and Minds and like all those, but those are just places that I paste the thing that I have up on YouTube. Those are the like if I'm just gonna say like here I am, like wave my hand at the crowd in what are some of the lesser ones? I'll just read them off. I have them all coordinated in my socials folder. Yeah. Gab, Getter, MeWe, Minds, Tumblr, Locals, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and Meta Business Suite. Half of those are places where when I do something that's worth like I feel like I want people to see it, I just paste the
Mhm.
I paste the link into like half of those and hope for the best. I'm still participating, but I'm not interacting as much because all of the alternatives are not that I think it's great that they're doing it, but all of the alternatives, everybody knows that you're going there because you don't like Twitter.
Mhm.
Like you don't like. I've been spelling Twitter XWIXXER.
Zixer.
Yeah, Twitter or whatever. That's what it is, right? Let's see if I can get this. Oh, I might switch paint. Like paint has to feel right when you're doing it, and this stuff is good for pulling stripes. But if you're trying to do artwork and it has to have like body, you have to be able to control it. And this is an old brush that I use. Just in case you guys can't see what I'm doing over here, it looks like the reason why it looks like I'm taking so long between strokes is because you have to like palette the brush and figure out exactly where the flat side is. If you can see this, see if I can do it closer to the camera. If I'm on the side of this brush, it doesn't look quite right. I have to twist and turn it till I can figure out where the hairs are flat, and then I know that it's possible to lay down a really good. And then when you pull it around, it gets sharp on you.
Damn.
Yeah, see
How
that
many
right
brushes
there?
do you think you got?
Okay, see this is what I'm talking about. It's pulling dry on me. You
Oh
see
yeah, right
right
there.
there where there's a skip.
Yep.
So I'm gonna see. I'm going to clean this brush off. I'm going to clean all of that off. I'm going to pull out the one shot. I'm going to try something different. So that's my cleaning can. Anybody's ever seen Bob Ross, you've seen him do this, and then slap his brush.
Yeah, you beat the devil out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that like with this one, like these will lose hair, so you want to like clean them off. You know, some guys will just do this and like let the brush spread out. I just do this with it. I just kind of like do this with my hand, and then I'll let it sit in the thinner just so that that spring on the top of the can, the spring on the top of the can is so you can just like set the brush in it and let the hairs hang, and then gravity will pull what paint is stuck in the brushes or in the bristles. It will just suck it down in gravity. Use gravity to suck it down in the bottom of the can. Man,
Dang, dude,
this always
painting
happens,
sounds
like,
complicated as hell.
well, only if you've never done it before. Yeah, this stuff sets up really, really quick. Use some lacquer thinner to get it up. But the reason I got this armature here for the camera is because I tend to set my desk up like crooked.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like it's got a lean to it. And I couldn't get anything. I can't clamp anything to it so that it'll be straight and whatever. I mean, this whole basement's a mess. I got rolls of vinyl on one end of it. I got a Mac from 2008 or earlier running a vinyl cutter. It's really quite a spectacle. You know what they say, like, you know, how clean your room is or how organized your room is an expression of how you think. Don't come down here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't come down here, man. What the fuck are you thinking?
That's
Are you?
okay. I understand. I understand.
Yeah, it's a tortured existence, let me tell you. That sucks, man. I was like, I'm gonna paint his name on here. It's gonna be really, really cool. I got the wrong paint. I did the wrong paint. I took a gamble on it. Like that stuff there is it's great for pulling pinstripes. You can do some pinstripe designs with it, but if you're trying to keep it wet long enough to do something really cool, it doesn't work out that well. But a buddy of mine was developing this stuff through DuPont, and I mean, he did a lot of work with the chemists and stuff, trying to make it, you know, just so. And people swear by it. But it's just like, you know, any other material. There's pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
Good for some stuff, not good for other stuff. One shot's good for some stuff, not good for other stuff, or not as good. Yeah. So yeah, you got to be a chemist. I'll put some of the same color in this cup, but then I have to add a hardener to it if I know that I'm going to clear coat it later, because enamel and solvents do not get along that well. Even though, yeah. even though enamel itself is thinned with a solvent, it's thinned with a mild solvent. So when you when you try to clear coat over it, if you're not really careful, it'll lift. Have you ever seen paint lift before?
Huh.
It ends up looking like tree bark.
Ooh, geez.
So in the early days when I was doing this for just getting involved, and I didn't realize how complicated it was. I shouldn't say I didn't realize how complicated it was. I just didn't know the rules of thumb. Enamel is what a lot of the old timers use because that's what the paint system was. And the paint systems will change. They'll go from lacquer to enamel to urethane. And if you don't know which one is which, and you try to put one chemical over the other, terrible things can happen. So the legend is there was a guy around here, at least. I'm sure every city has the same legend. Amazing artist, smoked dope all the time. He was just super laid back and stuff. And he did this really complicated piece on the side of this van. And then his paint rep came into the shop and said, "Hey, and he's using like this old stuff. Spends half his life on it, and then this paint rep comes in and says, "Hey, we got this new stuff. It's an awesome clear coat. It's going to make that artwork last forever."
Oh.
Knowing how to use it, dumps all of this solvent and urethane on it, and the whole thing wrinkles up and it's the if you've never seen the Mr. Bean movie where he ruins Whistler's mother, that's what happens. And if you haven't seen it, look it up because it's horrific. It turns it into it's like watching time lapse rotting fruit.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool to watch.
It
I
is.
saw it in an art gallery one time.
Unless it's happening in real time.
I mean, yeah, then it's kind of gross.
Just and use to work like 9 to 10 hours on this thing. All right, we're gonna try this with the enamel. Let's write it down first. Okay.
So my goal for tonight was to do that character workshopping study. I want to remake Spider-Man.
You're gonna remake them.
Yeah, like as if he never existed.
Okay. So when somebody comes at you with a project like that, do you ask them for a story? Or you have to make the story up?
I don't know. This was your idea.
Well,
The
for
other night.
when somebody says, "I want a bunch of fill in the blank on my bike," and they'll say skulls or clowns or grim, like the go-tos, grim reapers or whatever. And I'm like, well, if I just put a pattern of stuff on here, it's going to look stupid. You have to come up with like a story for it. Does this Spider-Man have a Uncle Ben?
No, it's not related to that Spider-Man. It's as if
I don't
that
mean
story
like
never got to exist.
I don't mean the Uncle Ben. I mean like an Uncle Ben type.
I haven't really thought of a backstory for him.
Okay, how about this? There doesn't have to be any people involved, but um, he Peter Parker gets his powers from a radioactive spider, right?
That's how the story goes.
Well, that's how that story goes.
Right.
How does your story go?
I don't know how he got his powers, but he has very different powers. He just summons a fuck ton of spiders and has them, attack you.
Okay, so if you were to say something like that, the first thing my mind does is a literal spider verse. So you remember that it was like I want to say like late, isn't it like late 90s version of Lost in Space? Gary Oldman, William Hurt, the chick from Five of Us or whatever it was. Heather Graham was in it. It was
I believe I saw that version of it. Yeah.
yeah, like Silicon Graphics did the graphics. So Silicon Graphics was like the computer company in this version of the story, and they had those spiders that they found on that one derelict ship, the Prometheus.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
So if there was an entire universe that was populated with spiders, like spiders were the dominant species in this
Oh
universe,
Jesus!
then your character would be able to open a portal between that universe and this one, and for some reason have a mental link.
Yeah, the spiders just like him.
Oh, that's it. But where do they come
Nah.
from? No?
Yeah, it kind of is like a random portal he opens to just bring him to reality. I haven't figured that part out yet. I just like the idea of a dude that can just dump spiders in front of him and like have them attack somebody.
Oh
It's
man, what kind though? What kind are they going to be like? Big and scary, hairy tarantulas with like nothing more than a bee sting, or are they going to be something small that you can't see that well, like a
well,
black?
the bigger ones he's not
Kill
able
you.
to summon as many of, but the smaller ones he can make hoard up, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean actually that's a good that's a good question. It goes to size. Because if he can summon a spider and size isn't an issue, then he can be a real life 5 foot or 6 foot something right Ant-Man style character riding a giant spider. The way that Ant-Man would ride an ant, but in real size.
Right, yep. This dude can make one of those. That's his thing. He can make one big spider, a few medium-sized spiders, or a hell of a lot of small ones.
Oh, a lot of small ones. Okay. So this is neat. Now that I'm really thinking about it, he's not spinning the webs. See, look at this is what happens. You can see this. See that? These things go bald after a while.
Oh, whoa.
This is an old brush. So he doesn't spin the webs. He summons the spiders that spin
Right.
the webs. It's nifty.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do shit. Just hold his hand out.
Well, if he doesn't have to do shit, then does he have to be musculature, like or muscular at all?
No, look, I mean he's pretty thin framed.
Okay, no mask, or is it the mask up to the hairline?
No mask.
No
Nope,
mask.
no mask. Although I was thinking of a mask design, it was gonna be. See, I figured it would be too much like Spider-Man if I did it though, because I was gonna be like just kind of.
Well, if it was a mask of spider webs, it could look like just gauze going across his eyes and over his nose. It could go across his whole face, but why interrupt his breathing? His little spider buddies wouldn't probably want him to suffocate. Like if he can just like summon spiders and make them do his bidding, wouldn't he make them make his costume?
Yeah, they could weave a damn good freaking costume. Spiderweb is among the highest tensile strength on the planet.
Especially your spiders.
No
But that,
doubt.
who knows where they come from? If we're dealing with, and I'm not saying that we are, but if we're dealing with a multiverse style thing, then he could pull spiders in from a whole myriad. It's just he is connected to spiders in
In particular,
yeah, in
yeah.
any reality, this one, others, whatever infinite realities there are, spiders are his thing, and that's just his connection. The extra protein that he got in his DNA.
That's right. All right, so the mask would have been kind of something like this if I gave it to him.
This feels so much better. Now I can relax. You know, like one of the worst things about doing artwork is when you're trying to make something happen that doesn't want to happen and it feels like a fight. And then you're like, dude, you know what I need to do is just walk away from this and figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong. And thank God it was as easy as wrong paint, wrong, wrong paint. How long have you been doing this? Why would you try something like that? You've been doing this forever. Why are you trying to grab the wrong paint?
All right, there's his mask. I was thinking of something like that.
8 eyes.
Yes.
Does he have 8 eyes, or is it a trait?
No, he has 2. It's he would see through one set of these eyes. It's just the mask.
You're dealing with spiders that who knows where they're from.
I wonder if I should even make it so that he knows where they're from, or if just keep it a mystery.
Why wouldn't these spiders? Why wouldn't these spiders be able to give him eyes that he didn't know he needed until he looked through them? There was, and I'm not saying he was a favorite author of mine until you know what? I can separate the art from the artist. I've enjoyed Stephen King as an author. I don't enjoy him as a political pundit because I think most people that work in the world of fiction should just stay there. But the first book of his that I read was Night Shift, and the thing that attracted me to it was that the book cover had a hand that was bandaged, and through some of the bandages were these eyeballs that were, you know, like eyes that were looking at you.
Ooh.
And the story was about an astronaut that had gone to Venus and had experienced some kind of a radiation, and that those eyes saw the entire world, including himself. If he looked at it, he could see himself as an evil thing, and that everything that those eyes looked at was so twisted that it drove him into a murderous rage.
Oh, jeez.
Right. So when I see you make that mask on there, it makes me go to that. Well, there's eyes on there. Do they work or not? Let's say they do. If they do work, what did they see? Well, wouldn't it depend on who made those eyes? The spiders did. Where are the spiders from?
Everything leads back to where are the spiders from, and I kind of like that as a question for a series. Where are the spiders from? Why does he have the spiders?
This could be an origin story that goes on forever. While he's doing his thing, that one thing. I mean, aren't there characters in comic books out there like that where the origin story is constantly in question, and that's the thing that you can keep writing about?
Yes, the Joker, for instance, is a perfect example of this. An arachnomancer. I like that, Shano. Like the Joker. Okay, so his story keeps on changing because he is the one that keeps on telling it, and he is a constantly horrible source for his own background story. He won't tell the truth.
And then there's like 3 Jokers where we don't know which one is. Are there more than one?
The one I'm talking about is the Red Hood Joker.
Arthur, what's his face? Arthur?
No, that's the new one.
I thought Red Hood was an ex-Robin, right?
No, Red Hood is the name that the Joker took on when he went on his first little heist with some randos, and he got dumped in a vat of acid.
Okay, no, I remember that. I remember that story. Who am I thinking
of? You're thinking of either Nightwing or
Nightwing is Nightwing. There's shit. Was it Jason
Tim
Todd?
Drake? Was it Tim Drake or Jason Todd? Yeah, it's Jason Todd. It's Jason Todd for sure.
Came back to life and became a red something because I saw the mask. It's like, but I'm going back to like DC animation that I saw on HBO. It's a nice, easy way to catch up the stuff that you were collecting after all these years.
Yeah. Gosh, he's
I thought,
called something I
I
can't.
thought his name was Red Hood. I know what you're talking about. That dude looked like a Tylenol pill wearing a tuxedo and a cape.
Yeah. Okay, so he is called the Red Hood. But yes, that is the hood I'm talking about. That big Tylenol pill thing. That's what it is. Yep. I wonder if he was. Let's see, Joker, Red Hood. Yeah.
Dude, that's I'm sure it's probably been told in a story already, but Jason Todd calling himself the Red Hood wouldn't have some connection with the original Red Hood.
You would think it would, right?
Your father.
Yeah.
And I'm only suggesting that because I know I don't get any information first. You know what I mean? Like anybody listening to this in perpetuity is going to be like, yeah, of course. What did you think? What did you think it was all about? Of course it's the Red Hood. Of course it has a connection. You know, and they'll call me gay or something else because I'm not the comic aficionado that I should be.
Nah, they're just purists. Let them stew.
Let them twist in the wind.
Yeah.
Let them stew. All right, I got to get moving on this because I want to draw some cool anniversary.
Hell yeah. I'm just taking my sweet ass time with this spider guy.
Super do that. Take your sweet ass time. Is there anybody in your chat?
Yeah, there's a few people in chat. Squab has been here, and my buddy Shano has been here, and my buddy
I'm so
Frogman
happy
has been
this
here.
is my responsibility.
Right. It's always a pretty chill kind of deal when I'm doing this. I don't really have any big expectations. I just want to get in here and have some fun and doodle a little bit.
How deep is your SNL lore vis-a-vis Michael Myers?
Very little.
Okay, so you don't remember Coffee Talk? I'm Linda Richmond. This welcome to Coffee Talk, and he was just basically some Jewish chick from New Jersey. And there would be a point where she would say something like, "What's a classic line?"
My grandson's in the CIA.
Something like that, but it would be geez, I can't think about it. But the end of it would be like, well, let's say for instance, the Central Intelligence Agency is neither central nor intelligent. Discuss. Talk amongst yourselves. So as far as the chat goes, cool frog is neither cool nor a frog. Discuss.
Discuss this.
Talk amongst yourselves. Man, I'm way off here. I'm gonna have to put some sort of a design at the end because I'm not gonna recurve this panel. I'm just gonna have to roll with it. Stephen Winwood style.
There you go. That's kind of what I got to do here. I am basically too far in to redo this character design at this point. So I'm just kind of shoring things up and yeah.
I like his head. I mean, the head is cool. So what is he using? What does he use to pull in the horde of spiders?
He literally just like moves his hand out in front of him, and then they start forming around.
Around his hand?
Yeah, they'll like start dropping from his palm.
Oh, okay. All right. So not a web shooter, but like whatever mechanism, be it mystical or other, happens right there in the center of his hand.
Yeah. Piss. I did it bad.
Got it for water soluble.
Got any cool commissions coming out soon?
Oh, dude. I mean, they're not commissions as such, like the way that you would think of them, like tomorrow. I'm trying to cram as many things into and I have a vinyl install on a windshield for a friend. That's the bottom of the list of priorities. That license plate I have to drop off. I can't believe. I mean, I like acid etch primed this thing, and that paint still came right off. So I'll touch that up, and I'll drop that off. I mean, that thing is only $75. It's one of the things that you get with a lot of the old timer hot rod owners and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I love them to death. They're some of the best people, and it's really easy to work around them because their political alignments are almost always the exact as yours. Because they're from then when things
Yeah.
were awesome.
When things were awesome, yes.
But at the same time, that's where their economy is, their sense of economy. Where I had to take that thing to work. I had to blast all the rust off of it. Didn't take too long, but I still had to do it.
Right.
Mix up the yellow so that it looked like it was a Pennsylvania yellow, which is kind of like a Steeler yellow, and then brush everything else on there by hand, and then like clear it, and then I'm still gonna like drive it out to. I had to go. I dropped another license plate off to him for a buddy. I'm still gonna have to drop this one off, which is kind of out of the way, but it's still mostly on the way to where I have to go tomorrow to do like when you say commission, you're talking about something that I'm doing from here, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking. Let me see if I can. It's almost not worth it. I have like a toolbox. It's like an art kit with all these different paints and brushes and stuff in it, and I have to take that with me tomorrow to somebody's farm so that I can put words on the arm of this backhoe commemorating his brother's passing away, and he wants it on this giant tractor because they both worked on it. I know it's like it's a weird math problem to put together. You know what I mean? Because it's not like a portrait of my dog or something like that. But I remember I did that for a guy before. One of the weirdest. Not, I mean, nice guy, but I was like, I got into this conversation while I'm doing this, like in memorial or in memoriam of his wife that passed away, and this guy was like my age at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what happened? And what was his name? He's the only other Lonnie that I know. This guy's name is Lonnie. I'm like, well, you seem so young. What happened? And apparently, I've never heard of this before, but it's one of those things that you never forget in case somebody comes down with this. That
Mm.
her stomach was paralyzed somehow. Really
Whoa.
super rare thing. Like your stomach has muscles to it, right?
Yeah.
So when you swallow food, it's not just the acid in there that breaks things down and sends it off down the line, but it actually kind of moves around and churns and does its thing. You know, quietly, you don't really know that it's doing that, but I guess it's stomachs can get paralyzed, and she was just for some reason she started getting sick, like physically, throw up, like a bad night, like a hangover sick.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. I felt so bad for the guy because it's one of those things where like everybody's just shrugging their shoulders. They got their arms. They're like, we don't know. We've seen it happen before. It's like really rare, and it's so rare that there's really not a thing for it. But she's got it. And it was just he just had to watch this whole thing happen.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, man, that really sucks. But
How do you deal
but
with something like that?
like
That's
even
awful.
but even though it's just like, I mean, it's like a, where am I at here? It's like a paragraph like this big. You know what I mean? It's like it's something that you would put on a headstone. It's her name, the years, something that he wants written on there, and a flourish and whatever. And I take my stuff and I go out there and I do this thing, and I try to keep in mind that I am not a licensed therapist,
Right.
but I'm still obligated to listen to every last little bit of what happened while I'm painting this on there, because I believe, I have faith that whatever it is that that person is telling me about this while I'm painting it, that something is transferring from them through me to the brush to the paint. You know what I mean? And even if it's just the idea that they saw it happen while they were talking about it and
Mhm.
get it off their chest, that it's weird. It's like, because I'm taking money, but at the same time I do get personally invested in this shit, and especially something like that. I
Oh,
mean,
how
even
could you not?
like painting T-shirts in the mall. I remember one lady, she had a portrait of her son, and she was telling us about. I mean, this kid was like maybe 10 or 11, and he got it's the same kind of thing. He got sick, not the same sickness, but he got sick, and she lost her kid, and there was nothing she could do about it, and she was getting him immortalized on, of all things, like a T-shirt. But I think that's because I honestly think like we didn't. That's what we had. We didn't have canvases, and she just didn't know what to do at the time with
Mhm.
herself. Like, like I have to do something. Um, and it's weird. Like when you do this kind of work for poor people, and it's really personal, and they see it when it's done, and they start to cry. You you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's like you don't really know what to. I mean, you don't know what to do with it, so you don't do anything with it. And it's sort of like when somebody says, "Oh my God, I heard that your fill in the blank passed away." I don't know what to say. True, words were never spoken. I honestly don't know what to say. Like, what can you say? That's a human life that's not here anymore. I mean, what is there to say? The English language just just fails, and it should. Those moments are so important that you trying to put them into words is almost insulting. My God, the last time I was on stream with Cool Frog, and it was last Saturday. And right before I got on, I was like in the green room, in the back room, like we were before when I thought we were live and we weren't.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he goes, well, one of his like loyal viewers had passed away. When
Yep.
were you there for this?
Um, I heard about it. I don't
Okay,
know
and
which
and her
one
and her and
exactly you're
her
talking
husband.
about. There's
Oh
been a
no,
couple.
her husband, I guess. What?
Oh yeah.
I believe it. Like I think they were together for a long time. Her husband was in the chat the entire time, and I didn't know. I'm like, I knew that it was important. I knew that it mattered, but I didn't know this person. I didn't know Wendy. I didn't know her husband or anything like that. But all of a sudden, I'm like trying to channel my best Nick Rekieta toast.
Yes.
Like failing miserably, and no, I mean, I don't know. It's like one of those things. Like, your wife just passed away. You're spending your time with the people that she hung out with. This is important. What do I say? And there's always never, and nothing is ever good enough. It's, I don't know. I'm probably going too deep on you here, but
Not at all. It's like,
I don't even know.
some things words can't profess.
Well, exactly. That's yeah. as you know, and that's the great thing about cliches. Cliches sound like cliches because they're true, and there's never a better way to put them, or never a better way to put it. You know, you shrug your shoulders, you pull that you pull out that one liner, you're like, that's why it's the one liner that it is, man. It always works. There's nothing truer. Words fail me.
Wonder if it's just because we're artists
What?
that words tend to fail. Like, do you think that poets have this issue?
A picture is worth 1,000 words. So that's probably where the stress comes from. Whatever it is that you're painting, it has to be worth more than 1,000 words.
Mine's worth
Like
two.
when you have to have a report done, it's got to have like 500 words in it. You've managed like 25, and you've said everything that you had to say. Yeah, words fail me, sure. You know who words really fail?
Who dat?
Joe
Joe
Biden.
Biden? I knew you were gonna say that shit.
Oh man.
I knew you were about to go off with some Joe Biden shit.
Is this the thing? Is it because you're you and I'm me, or is it because he is him? And just everybody thinks that.
It's just such a commonly said thing. It's like, oh, I know where this is going.
I thought I was being original and funny, and then here you come. Like, oh no, I know the answer.
Yeah, it's just I am going
I'll see
to
Joe
peer
Biden
into your mind.
1,200, Alex, or whoever's running that thing now. Oh, I know, Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter. Well, I'm probably dating myself if I'm making Mr. Carter references.
Who is Mr.
You don't know who Mr. Carter is?
Mr. Cotter?
Welcome back, Cotter.
Nope.
Shit. My hand skipped. Welcome back. Mr. Cotter was a 1970s sitcom that revolved around a character played by Gabe Kaplan, Mr. Cotter, who was a teacher for a class of kids who were too stupid for real high school. They were lovable characters. John Travolta was in this show. There's a dude named Epstein. Who's the one that
Epstein. Whoa, I don't know that guy.
kid? That was his thing. He would raise his hand because he thought he had the answer.
Big me, yeah.
What was that kid's name?
Everybody knew one.
Rorschach. Oh man, this is like some intergenerational shit happening on your channel right now. Rorschach. Oh.
This is the Mandela Effect study stream.
Who's that? Who said that?
Capital. Frogman said no capital F.
Oh well, it is tonight. I'm not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Have you seen his logo? Have you seen his logo? There's a capital F hiding in there somewhere.
There is.
Yeah, don't try to. What's the word? Oh, yeah, don't try to gaslight me. I see it. It's in there. I know it's in there.
Actually, is it just a K?
AF thing. There's a capital F. There's a capital F.
There's a capital F in there.
I got you a capital F right here. Oh. Here, I'm gonna make it even more egregious. I'm gonna put a nice big get rid of that hair. Man, this brush is going bald. Big. I'm gonna lay it down real heavy right there. Nice big fat F. F is for fat F.
Large fat F.
Bullfrog. Man. All right. So he's way off to the left. I'm gonna have to find a way to balance this out. I wonder if there's enough of a demand for StreamYards to do a top to bottom split, the way that like PlayStation or you know, like some video game systems will do. If you're
Oh yeah, like stack them.
you stack them if you're both playing off the same machine.
I know I can edit the layout here.
I'm not asking you to do anything at all because I'm pretty sure it's not. You can't. Pretty sure.
But I can.
Well, I mean, if you can, it's great. But I'm not asking you to like. I don't want to take you out of your creative groove to
You threw off my groove.
placate me.
Nah, it's cool.
It's cool, Frog.
I might dig this better here.
Maybe what I should do is see if I can.
There you go.
I know. But just put the pencil line on it here. How about that? Look at you. Making it look easy when everybody knows it ain't.
Damn, have you ever gotten into any animation stuff at all?
I worked on a video in the '90s, a country music video.
Ooh.
There was an animation studio in a neighborhood around here that did the what do you call it? What's the best way to put it? You saw Creep Show?
Missed that one.
Creep Show 2. So like around here, like around Pittsburgh, like this is where Tom Savini is from, right? You know Tom Savini?
Mm-mm.
Tom Savini did all the special effects for. He's like the guy. Friday the 13th, like so many movies.
Oh hell yeah!
It's crazy. He did the special. He's not just a special effects guy. He's a special effects innovator. Legend has it. If you've ever seen somebody getting a limb chopped off, and it looks like the knife is going through their arm, he's the guy that came up with the idea to take a notch out of the knife, lay it on the arm, drip blood around it, and just saw back and forth and kind of make it look like that machete was right in there.
Damn.
Tom Savini. Have you ever seen the original Dawn of the Dead?
That's the first zombie movie, isn't it?
This is the second zombie movie.
Okay.
It was actually filmed at the Monroeville Mall, which is 2 tunnels away from here. If you're in Pittsburgh, it's about tunnels.
Night of the Living Dead is the one I was confusing it with.
Tunnels. Well, there was a remake, which I actually think is really, really good. In fact, one of my favorite intros to any movie.
Ooh.
It was Zack Snyder directed it.
Okay.
Back in when Zack Snyder was not in the DCEU. He hadn't done 300. He hadn't done any of that stuff. He did this remake of Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was really good, but they have it take place in like Wisconsin or something like that, which, you know, considering everything that happened in 2020.
Wisconsin, Your Honor.
Wisconsin. Everybody around the Great Lakes sounds the same. When I lived in Buffalo and I would come down to Pittsburgh to visit, my cousins would tell me that I was really like nasally. But then I had lived in Chicago until I was in 2nd grade. You know, like it's like the closer you get to the lakes, the more nasally everything gets. I'm never interested.
Did you ever watch Jimmy Neutron?
No, that would have been something that my kids watched.
Yeah, I figured.
I don't know that they did. They were more gumball people. My youngest,
Okay, Gumball came a little later.
my youngest was a gumball person. The two older kids were like from the time that they were really little. It was Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh, yep.
Then I mean, just I didn't understand kid stuff. SpongeBob SquarePants for sure.
Oh, geez, yeah.
SpongeBob was their crack. And
SpongeBob is
when they
awesome.
were when they were really young, Thomas the Tank Engine was also their crack.
What did you watch when you were a kid? What kind of cartoons?
Okay, we're gonna date me.
That's
It
fine.
would have been my favorite cartoon, honestly, when I was a kid. The one that I really stared at the most to see how they did that was Robotech. But
Robotech.
yeah, Robotech.
That's
Uh,
an anime, bro.
I know. Yeah, and even before that, there was Star Blazers, Voltron. But
Nice.
if I was consistently on top of something on every Saturday, it would have been like Looney Tunes and Super Friends, Spider Friends. Yeah, man. I'm doing this in a very unorthodox way.
How do they? It's like,
Thundar the Barbarian was a lot of
what is that one?
fun. Thundar the Barbarian. Dude, the beginning of this thing, the whole premise is that a comet nearly misses the Earth. It goes between the moon and the Earth, and the gravitational force from this comet actually shatters the moon. And the entire time you're watching this cartoon, it's in two halves. There's Thundar, who is a future Mad Max science fiction barbarian. Ariel, which she's a like a magus, and then I don't want to say Ukla. Is it Kukla or Ukla? I want to say Ukla, but that might have been the name of my babysitter's dog. In either case, that was they rode horses and stuff, and there was like it was science fiction and fantasy put together. It was very very well done. I remember seeing it was a scene where acid rain is about to happen. This is the 80s, so acid rain was one of those things they were trying to like make believe into reality.
hmm
Acid rain is coming. Let go of the horses. They can outrun the storm. I remember that. Thundercats. Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, Thundercats was a way cooler version of He-Man. Because
Yeah.
Mum-Ra was a much more savvy and cool looking villain than Skeletor. I mean, he had that weird voice.
What are you doing, He-Man?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly good. That's exactly the voice. So, yeah, Thundercats. But I thought the Tiger guy was cool because he had a whip and he could disappear. I thought he was
Yeah.
underrated. But
What's his name?
Silverhawk,
Lionel or
right? And
something?
that's the thing. Like Rankin and Bass was an awesome animation company because they had done The Hobbit. They had
Oh,
done a version. They had done a version of did they do a version of the Lord of the Rings? No, that was Ralph Bakshi.
yes they did.
Did they?
Yep. Rankin Bass
Rankin
did
Bass
The
did.
Hobbit, and they did Lord of the Rings,
Right.
and they did Return of the King. They didn't do Two Towers because I think they packed it with either Return of the King or Fellowship.
So, yeah, it was kind of like they crammed it in there. So they didn't do what Ralph Bakshi did, was try to put all three of them into one movie.
Ralph
You didn't
Bakshi.
see that one, did you?
Um,
Ralph Bakshi is he's the guy. He did Cool World. This is really thick. I'm supposed to go over these twice. He did Cool World. He did some different a lot of different movies. I know somebody in the chat, if they're actually paying attention.
Oh,
I have
this is the one I was thinking of. I thought this was Rankin Bass.
Oh no, that was Ralph Bakshi. If you're seeing the big sword coming out towards you with that on the movie poster,
Yeah, with Gandalf.
yeah, that's Rankin Bass, or that's Ralph Bakshi.
I
A
literally
lot of
have
that.
this VHS sitting like 10 feet from me right now.
Oh yeah, a lot of that was done with rotoscope silhouettes and stuff.
Yes, it's so cool.
Yeah,
Very good.
you know what's even better than that? Fire and Ice. I'm sure you've seen that.
Fire and Ice. I think you've
Haven't
told me about this and said I should watch it.
Yeah, it's sort of required viewing if you're going to
Okay.
live on this
I'm
planet.
just gonna tab that then. You know what? I have
Yeah,
a great cartoon
Fire and
today.
Ice. If you're familiar with Frank Frazetta's artwork, Fire and Ice. Frank Frazetta is like the godfather of fantasy art. Fire and Ice is it's like watching a moving Frazetta painting. Crazy. And the thing is, like, there's not a lot of dialogue. That doesn't have to be because it's like when a good comic book is written, the imagery tells the story more than the words have to. And
Yes, I love visual storytelling.
right, and so when you're watching this thing, you're like, it's really simple lines where you see one person show up to this battlefront, and another person takes off, and you see this disappointed look on that person's face, the guy that showed up, and the guy next to him says one line. He goes, "It cannot be stopped, Larn. Go with your brother." And just those lines tells you this guy just saw his brother run from the fight, and that the fight is so the odds are so terrible that his commanding officer is saying, if you run, that's fine. I totally get it. You will not be dishonored. But it's just that one line. It cannot be, go with your brother, Larn. It cannot be stopped. Super simple, but the entire thing was rotoscoped. Yeah, yeah. Frank Frazetta is required paint, required inspiration, required all that stuff.
Copy that.
Dude,
I love checking. I'm
what
a big
the greatest.
appreciator of animation. Like I
Well, you
love.
remember that. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, you remember that book that I unfolded in front of you
Yeah,
yeah, it's his work moving. It's his work in motion. It's just absolutely nuts.
that does sound hella cool.
Dude, it's so good. There's a character in there like Dark Wolf. His name is Dark Wolf.
Uh,
Um, and he's not. It's like he's that mysterious kind of that Han Solo. I'm in it for myself character.
oh, yep.
He's the guy. He's the guy who's just like he's the Punisher. Like he just knows how this works, and he's gonna, he like Larn gets into a fight that he can't handle, and he ends up getting knocked unconscious. And the next time you see him, he's like strapped to some makeshift frame gurney, like a stretcher kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like in an X, like in a spread eagle.
Oh,
and
jeez.
and he wakes up and there's this guy with this. He's wearing basically like a wolf head style mask on him, and he's just got an axe. And he goes, he's like, you'll never take me to Necron. He goes, easy boy. The restraints were keeping you from hurting yourself. And then this character just takes the tip of his axe and ever so lightly drags it across this what is clearly a leather strap, just really lightly just drags it across, and you hear this, and his hand is free. You
Oh,
watch this, like with animation and sound effects, the impression that you get is like this axe has been honed to razor sharp. Like he didn't even like put pressure on it. He just like lets it fall across the just drag it across a little bit of pressure. Easy boy. Those restraints were keeping you from hurting yourself. It's the whole. I can't say enough about it. It's one of the most underrated, most awesome animated movies ever. And then there was another one, as long as we're talking about animation, that came out of Canada called
Uh,
Rock and Rule. Tell me you haven't seen that.
have not.
That one you can find on YouTube, and that's like a little bit more of a if if Disney was a heavy metal band.
Oh,
Yeah, that
oh,
dude, it's awesome. Like Cheap Trick, Debbie Harry, Earth, Wind and Fire, Iggy Pop. Who was the dude from the Velvet Underground? Who am I thinking of? Um, shit. This is not my fault. My name is not. Thanks a lot. Lou Reed. Was
Lou
that the
Reed.
Velvet Underground, right? Lou Reed. Dude, and this is I don't even know if any of that animation was rotoscope, but it's so good. The characters, the music is awesome, and the whole premise is that like nuclear war has happened, and the only survivors were dogs, cats, and rats, and they're all mutants.
Oh,
You know? So like they run everything, but rock and roll is still a lot. It's like Canadian the Canadian version of heavy metal, but it's all one story, and it's really really good. Fall off the desk. That's like my brother and I. We just love the hell out of that movie because this is like the house that we grew up in was like majorly steeped in the satanic panic. Like it was really hard to get a hold of like anything popular culture because this is like the 80s and everything is going to possess your kid and send your money to Jim and Tammy Faye Baker and blah blah blah. And the way that we got around this one was that um, being able to see this movie at all was because like parts of it were it was part of a show about making movies on Nickelodeon. It was called Lights Camera Action. This show was actually um, hosted by Leonard Nimoy.
oh, wow.
So there were portions of movies that were like rated R that were on like The Thing. They did, and this is how that like in 1982 is The Thing. So I'm like 12, and I'm watching these awesome, special effects. And was it John Carpenter directed The Thing?
Yes, so
Rob
good.
Bottin, and it was it Rob Bottin did the special effects, and I think he was first to Rick Baker, who was on American Werewolf in London, and John Carpenter, like he tells them you've seen The Thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he tells them the premise of the movie. And imagine this, and I'm sure you haven't heard this anywhere else. I swear I heard John Carpenter telling Leonard Nimoy this in a show on Nickelodeon about how they made this movie. Mayonnaise and egg whites for the slime and shit and all over the place. And he goes, I just told my special effects guys, whatever you see under your bed is what I want on this film.
Oh, you told me
Imagine
about this.
creative freedom as a special effects guy is like, oh yeah, it can turn into anything, anything, yeah, anything, whatever you see under your bed. Okay, you don't even have to pay me. You know what I mean? And it comes across. You know what I mean? Like the same way that hearing this terrible story about what happened to your your wife in this this terrible thing that translates across to a good finished product. Being able to have that kind of creative freedom because your director told you do whatever you want, and because this is the parameters of the movie, you can see it, you can feel it. The sound guy, imagine the sound guy going out and going, oh my god, cicada noises would work perfectly here. That's the noise that you hear, like whenever, like it's got Bennings, and then he runs outside. They dump gas all on it. He opens his
When
mouth.
it makes that big noise.
You hear a cicada noise. Nuts. Yeah, that's just an absolute classic, and it's weird too because like in anytime somebody mentions the thing, the first thing that goes through your head is like, I'm a bigger fan than you are. I knew all about this stuff when I was watching Nickelodeon. What else did they have on there? They did Scarface. Um, they did um, they did a movie called Local Hero, which was something about a I don't know, it was like a guy who was trying to get a factory up and working in Ireland. It was like starred one of somebody from Animal House. Never saw the movie. Didn't really interest me that much, but yeah, the '80s were just awesome for movies. Shit,
Frickin' Fast Times.
I wasn't even into Cameron Crowe then. Yeah, my favorite Cameron Crowe movie is it's Singles. Just only because like at the time, Singles came out. I was in college, and like grunge was a huge thing. Um, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, man. I when the part of that I saw, like I guess I should say the part of that I saw disturbed me because it revolved around that one dude that thought he was like really super cool and then knocked up that one chick. And
Oh, geez, and she was like underage and shit.
was she? I,
Yep.
I just remember like he was like super fake and he had that one kid around him that was like he was trying to navigate through this social milieu of high school.
Hmm.
And that one dude was like, yeah, yeah, I got it all together, and just like be a satellite that revolves around me. And then when it came time to actually be a man about what he had done, um, yeah, was it Judge Reinhold was her older brother? I can't remember. Was that Jennifer Jason Leigh that played the part of that little girl?
I don't even remember anymore.
Forrest Whitaker was in that. Freaking Forrest Whitaker and Sean Penn in the same movie. When have you ever seen that happen?
Oh man, there's so many stars in that movie. Got their start in that movie.
Yeah, I guess, and that was like Sean Penn was established, wasn't he? Hadn't he already done Bad Boys by then?
I don't know. I know there's a actor in there that like doesn't even use his current name, but like he's a big one too.
Oh, he changed it around.
Yeah.
So when you go to his IMDb profile, it's like he was in this movie as whatever.
I don't know how I found this out, and I don't remember what actor it is even, but it was interesting when I heard it. It's like, oh, he was in there? Oh, he's called so and so. That's weird.
Yeah, it's probably not a really good marketing ploy. I've done it before. I used to before I was marketing myself as I just got these stickers made. Identity Crisis. I I was calling myself Thick Skin Design because it was one of those things like you got to have a thick skin. People are telling you that you can't do it, blah blah blah, or it was like right at the beginning of political correctness and nobody could take a joke. I was listening to a lot of AM talk radio. I'm like, that's what I'm going to call myself, Thick Skin Design, right? And then somebody
Yeah.
goes, do you design tattoos? I was like, oh, that's a
Oh,
big name for a tattoo studio. I shouldn't call myself that. So I ended up partnering with some a different custom paint outfit. So like three guys doing custom paint.
mhm.
And whenever that didn't work out, I saw it as a really good opportunity to separate myself from and like come up with a better name. And I was at a pinhead meet, which is like a bunch of pinstriper guys, and they're like Brian the Brush and Wizard, and you know like that line in The Crow, a bunch of happy pirate people with pirate names, and they all had these really cool names. And I said to my daughter, "Kid, come with me to one of these meets." And on the way back, I was like, I really just I don't understand what I can't figure out what it is. I should call myself. Some guys do really good with a name, but I don't know why I wasn't comfortable with that. I just seem to be suffering from this identity crisis.
And then you had it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, shot from the heavens. Oh, it's not my best stuff, but maybe I can distract. Maybe I can distract the viewer with some fancy colors. That color, that color. No, should I get hot pink?
Oh,
I'll get some hot pink. That'll work.
do it to him. Okay.
Get a virus. I'm telling you, I have all these brushes, but then there's the ones that you keep going back to all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
I need to find something else to paint so that I can use these different brushes. Bless you. I was wondering what that was. I thought like for a second you owned a dog and you hadn't fed it.
It's like getting mad at me.
Hey man, I hate my sneeze. I got my sneeze from my mother. It is loud. People from 3 rooms away will bless me.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I get it from me father. It's also quite the loud sneeze.
Is he still with us?
Oh yes.
Have you thanked him?
I have not thanked him for my sneeze.
His sneeze? Some hardener into the yellow. Stir it up a little bit. I'm just doing a little bit on the palette here. I'm just gonna highlight these letters. Maybe put some extra yellow into this pinstripe design
And then voila.
2 colors ought to do it.
All right, let's see. I kind of dig gray for a hair color.
No, it would work with spider webs. You know what would be a really cool power for a guy like that? Is if you can just make a spider web appear in front of anybody at a moment. It doesn't even have to be the whole thing. It just has to be like one strand while they're walking and like paying attention to their phone. Like they're not even like really into what's going on around them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just happened to you where you just like walk into like one strand of a spider's web and you start to freak out. What's that? What is that? Nobody knows what's happening but you.
That'd be kind of excellent, really.
Yeah, it would be like a disarming kind of thing. We're just gonna have one strand of web show up right here. Nothing entangling, nothing like that you can swing from. An honest to God, real life, one strand of spider web, one little piece of silk, and they can feel it go across the bridge of their nose and cheek and just lose their shit. And because they're concentrating on that, your guy can pounce on them.
That'd be kind of, yeah, that'd be perfect. Great distraction. Say, ah, shit, jeez. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and he got me. Happens to the best of us.
Anime is such a ever-changing art form.
Oh, do you have favorite artists? I won't know
Mm,
any of them, but you know, I'm
yeah,
just thinking,
none in particular that come to mind when you ask me.
huh?
None in particular that come to mind when you ask me. I have animators that I really enjoy,
Okay.
and I have stories that I really enjoy, but like art styles, I don't know. There's so many, and there's a lot that are just really cool.
Well, what would you say is the main reason why Western viewers can't find an entry point to an anime story? The animation is cool, but like understanding what the story is about, I find can be it has to take a couple of tries
Mhm.
before you really get like, oh, I understand what they're trying to get at. Like I tried, it did not work, and I gave it a really good shot. I went through a lot of episodes of Attack on Titan,
Oh, okay.
and the visuals were like really cool. Like just the way that they did these giants and explained how it all worked, like the devices that they used.
Yeah, the ODM gear.
Yeah, the ODM gear, that was really cool, but it didn't seem to me, and this is one of my problems with it, that there's a concept that works and the story only goes so far with it, and then they change the concept so that they can write more of the story instead of jumping over the hurdle and keeping things consistent. Oh, okay. So now this has changed. Now this is what the monsters mean, and now there's another monster who's better than that monster, and what we
Hmm.
thought we knew isn't. We don't know now. It's everything's different now. I just settled into the concept of this guy can merge with or become a monster type thing or whatever, and you remember that was like the main character and how
Yeah,
he
he can change into a Titan.
right, right, he can change into a Titan if he causes himself pain or something. Like,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just like my Western brain not being able to keep up, but can we explore that a little bit more before we switch over to and now everything's different?
Yeah, I hear that. I think it's a problem with shonen anime. It's the fact that everything needs to ramp up to stay interesting.
Shonen is a creator.
Shonen is it means young boy. It's anime that's centered around teen boys that usually have fighting in them.
Okay, so it's a style of anime
Yeah,
or anime
like
storytelling.
there's a bunch of different categories of anime, as many as you can think of in regular movies or other similar
Okay,
mediums.
so you're kind of making my point for me.
Yeah.
There's so much going on that when you how did okay um I like my heavy metal, and anybody who likes heavy metal can get into heavy metal so deeply that they can figure out all the 36 subgenres of metal.
Mhm.
Same thing with rap. There's the rap that I like, there's the rap that I don't care for, and even there's the most of the rap that I like. I'm like super white bread. I probably heard it in a car commercial and then downloaded it from iTunes.
Yeah, right.
Um, and I guess the same thing happens with anime. There's the genre of anime, and then there's the subgenre of like what you were saying.
Yeah, there's shonen anime. These are your Dragon Ball Z's, your One Piece, your Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, all of these
And it's hard enough because these are all names that sound like they're in another language.
because they are.
Well,
They're
right. Well, of course, yeah, I know that sounded stupid to say, but when like when Tom Clancy writes a novel and there's all these Russian names in there, a friend of mine who's like really into Tom Clancy and everything. Well, in my head, I just rename them Bob and Pat and stuff, so I can keep track. I'm like, that seems like it's even more work.
Yeah, now you got to remember this whole second
Yeah,
name. It's like, no, it's easy because you see there's this one part of this other guy's name that makes me think of this. It's like,
that's not,
you're doing too much.
it's like Pedro. What? I wonder if this is a good color for this. Since I'm right there. Probably. Might as well take care of this now while it's staring me in the face.
Did you have problems with this layer stuff when you first started?
uh, with layers
Yeah.
of physical paint.
No, of like digital layers here that I'm tapping through.
I don't. One way that I like to keep them separate and so that I can
Whoops.
tell what's going on is if you can adjust the transparency of one.
Yeah, I
Looks
like
so
to
that
do that for my line layer, like my original draft layer.
yeah, you should be
I'll do
able to do
that
it
for
to all
that.
of them.
Yeah, I
Do it.
can.
So when you say do I have trouble with it, is that the kind of trouble you mean?
Maybe. Like I find myself going back to other layers, editing something, and then I'll accidentally like draw on or like color on that layer.
Oh yeah, keeping them straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's what the undo button is for.
Yeah, unless you realize it like
That's
30
how far
steps
into
in.
it you got.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
lose it.
I've done that before. um, I have combined layers and just committed to okay, that's the new pencil layer, and we'll try this again and not to get lost. But that's kind of an extreme scenario. You do it long enough, and you because the battle against or the solution to fight that is to come up with so many layers that do the same thing that it doesn't matter if you make that mistake. And honestly, I don't know what your habits are as far as like drawing and recreation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to be high.
Try not to be high while I'm drawing.
If you're doing digital stuff and you're trying to keep track of shit, yeah, try not to be high.
Uh,
And I'm not trying like being derogatory towards people that smoke or don't smoke or whatever, but I have noticed this much in. Let's see if I can blend this somehow by tapping my finger, making the lines disappear a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. Um, all of the times, and I'm not saying that I've ever done this, but all of the times that I thought I was driving drunk, I knew exactly where I was going and I knew how to get there. And it was a mechanical staying inside the lines thing that you concentrate on. When you're high and you're driving, you don't care about how fast you're going. You're just driving and enjoying yourself, and everything's fine. The mechanical part is you can stay inside the lines and everything's great, but you will miss that turn and you'll miss that exit because your head is just somewhere else. Feels great. Awesome. But it's a matter of concentration. Like if you're driving drunk, and unless you're an absolute total asshole, but if you're driving drunk, the one thing that you're paying attention to is not going to jail. So you're like, I want to know exactly where I'm going. I do not want to get turned around. I want to stay within these lines, and being a little heavy on the brakes, a little heavy on the gas, and like mechanically, you're a little bit rubbery, but your brain knows I need to make a right turn here. I just don't want to look like shit while I'm making that right turn. When you're high, you just go right past that right turn. And I just said now you got to turn around and try it again. If anybody in chat can attest to this, or is it just me? And that's one of the reasons why, honestly, why I don't do it.
No. Yeah, I've never had that trouble with it. You know, I'm pretty cognizant when I'm high.
That's good. That's probably because your DNA twists in the correct direction. My, your what do you call it? Your twist ties are holding the bag of bread shut, and mine aren't.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. That's what a double helix is, isn't it? Basically, it's just a twist tie kind of looking thing.
A bit, yeah.
Double
It
helix.
it has some more like kind of loopies to it than a twist tie would.
All right. Well, if you want, that's okay. This is your stream. You can ruin the example if you want to. I thought
All right, it's twist ties.
No, but I did. I had said that before. Like we had these neighbors living across the street from me, where like if this guy wanted to stare straight ahead, he would have to turn his head to the left. I couldn't explain it. I used to just say that they were that their DNA twisted in a different direction than everybody else's. We used to refer to them as wrong turn. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I'm going to totally own it because I came up with it and I thought it was really clever. We had wrong turn living across the street for a little bit. Okay, you've never seen Wrong Turn?
The movie?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. How about Deliverance? How about any movie
I've seen
where
Deliverance.
okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh Jesus. Deliverance is a movie.
Deliverance is crazy. I'm gonna have
It's
to
not
record
one. I
some of
was I was thinking I was signed up for like cannibalistic,
Oh
no.
no. It's isn't it weird how Deliverance is so much worse than that?
It is
Like
way
I thought it was I don't like the way you're saying like I thought Deliverance was only cannibalism. Listen, like seriously, like listen to how you're putting it. And I would put it the
Yeah.
same way. I thought it was just people eating other people.
Yeah.
Turns out it's way worse than that.
Yeah, go watch Deliverance, kids. You'll love it.
Yeah, I know. Like, hey, honey, I think I remember getting that from my at the time girlfriend for like a 1 year anniversary present. Like, we're gonna watch this together, and you're gonna
Oh,
love it.
yeah.
My now wife. In fact, I'm gonna have to ask her about that. Do you remember me getting Deliverance for some special occasion or something? I wonder why that happened.
Want to watch it again, honey? No.
I only watched it once, and once is enough.
Yeah.
It
Once
did.
is
It didn't.
definitely
It
enough for
didn't
that
prevent
movie.
us from vacationing in Tennessee.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Silver lining.
Oh, there's decent people down there in Tennessee. You just gotta look. You just gotta look for them.
You just got to look for the people that don't want you to squeal like a pig.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like we met the expert and his wife in Volstorm down there for dinner. We went for and it was the first time I'd ever like see any of them like face to face. And if one of them would have said "squeal like a pig," I'd been like, "I'm sorry, honey. This is a really bad idea."
It's time to go.
It was a good time. And still, like, it was one of the best vacations I ever had. One of the best vacations
I
I
did.
ever had because I got to do something I wanted to do.
I hadn't realized that you guys had a meetup. That's so cool.
There was a lot. It was like 2 years ago. But my experience with real
Okay.
people is limited to like the people in my family, the person that lives to the left of me, the person that lives to the right of me, and the people that I work with. Other than that, I'm like really like busy doing stuff, and it's the kind of thing that makes you want to go to church, just so that you can talk to somebody else, you know. But the person, like the people that you see on Like when you're watching the expert stream, you know, same guy, absolutely 100% same guy, same people.
Huh.
You know, like
That's so
there's
cool
you
to
know, how,
hear.
like how like some YouTubers, and a lot of people, you know, like throughout reality, they'll try to like put on a front or something like that. He's really
Mhm.
that person. Like
Wow, that's neat to
when
hear.
you sit down to have dinner, that's the guy that's on camera. That's who you're talking to. It's great stuff. We had a great time. My wife earned a nickname. They call her Hat Trick. Um, and would you like to hear the story behind that? Because it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it sounds funny. Let's go.
We went to a place for lunch earlier that day before we went to dinner, like saw museums and stuff like that. And we went to this place called the Mellow Mushroom or the Magic. I think it was like the Mellow Mushroom, or something, like a pizza place, right?
Uh-huh.
And the our server was um, trying to be something other than they were. Name of
Uh-oh.
Evan, you know, one of those names that could just like Chris or Pat. A lot of people say, "What's that?" It's Pat. A him or a her, perhaps ma'am or sir, whatever the case may be.
Oh,
It's time
jeez.
for it. Okay, like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I knew what they them were. My wife and like, well, the kids knew what they them were, but my wife had not guessed correctly.
Uh-oh.
So she threw down the wrong pronoun 3 times in a row, like Casey at bat. 1, 2, 3 times you're out. So that's where she earned the nickname Hat Trick.
Nice.
She like quote scored 3 times. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna be friends with these people forever. They gave my wife a nickname that I never would have thought of.
That's what friends are for.
So, like, I'm not going to say that I came up with that name. I might have. I don't remember, but I do think it's absolutely within my right to blame it on them because they'll never get in trouble.
Gotta play it safe.
Yeah, man. You only get in trouble if you're married to her.
That's right. If she's your wife, you don't gotta lie to her. Or wait, if she isn't your wife, you don't gotta lie to her. That's what it is.
Right. Right. But I know this is like kind of like old stuff, but every time I talk about going out to dinner with those people, the one thing that I absolutely remember about that restaurant is, you know how like when you microwave fries after they've been cold and refrigerated, they're just never really the same.
Yeah.
These fries, for whatever reason, however they were cooked, absolutely super awesome, delicious, even after you microwave them.
Oh wow.
I know. I know. I wasn't under the influence. You know how like sometimes when you're like you've had something to smoke, like whatever you eat, it doesn't matter. You're just like so happy to have it in your mouth.
Just like, oh, it's so
It
fucking
wasn't. Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It
Oh.
wasn't that. It really was. It was the I want to say it was called the Local Goat. Is the name of the place, but I would make that 8 hour drive again.
Hell yeah, fucking worth. Go see your buddies.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Work schedule is so weird. I don't even get to see him. Like, I was like, there's me being on this thing right now is a miracle.
It's pretty nice to just sit here and chill.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Oh
If you
shizzle,
say so.
oh shizzle, my dizzle.
Uh,
Is that an offense?
my
You know?
nizzle. I think it's shorthand for that, the word.
Yeah, but do you get nailed for it? I mean, if Snoop Dogg's allowed to say it, but we're not.
That's because Snoop Dogg is Snoop Dogg.
So you can't even say what Snoop Dogg. So like when we were like Robin Cheyenne was doing her stream, and
Yeah.
Bulldog was saying like that he got a strike on his channel from the last time that I was on there, and I automatically assumed because of something I said. Um, it just doesn't. It's just not in my wheelhouse. I can't keep a running tally of whatever all the rules are. But then that turns out it was something that Cool Frog actually said
Oh.
on his own channel. I was like, oh, that's kind of sucks, but also glad it wasn't me.
Yeah. Woohoo! Not me.
Not guilty. Is he still
I
in
plead
here,
the
or did
fifth.
he get his thing going?
No, I'm not sure.
He was. What is that last one? Man, my eyes.
Outpost banjo music.
10:21. Yeah, 10:21. So much for watching chat. Oh, we are watching you. No capital F. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, we were back there on that. I think he was trying to. I think he was trying to help me as I was making this massive stroke on here. And when you said there's no capital F, I thought that was you saying it, and here it was him saying it.
Yeah. I was letting you know that he was saying it.
What are you gonna do, man?
Oh, Scoob, what the fuck are we gonna do now?
What are we gonna do now, Scoob?
Ro.
Good
Reggie.
one. That's a good one.
Reggie. Thank you for Remy.
Scooby. I wonder. Have you ever wondered like what a Scooby snack really tastes like? Because
They have them.
they gotta be bomb. They gotta be the bomb.
I think they're literally just dog treats, but they have Scooby snacks as a kid's snack, and it's like the little cinnamon graham crackers or whatever, but they're shaped
Cinnamon
in
toast
dog
crunch?
treats.
What do you mean, like cinnamon toast crunch?
No, like just a big graham cracker, basically.
Okay.
But it's like a cinnamon graham cracker. They're pretty good. Pretty good. Could go for a
Speaking
Scooby
as
snack
a
right
man
now.
of experience.
Speaking as a man
I'm gonna get this drop
of
shadow in
experience.
here. It's a little watery. Little watery. Yeah, if the paint is too thin, it'll flow off the brush too fast and like flood the area.
Golly, I like
Should
that freaking design on the end of that.
what?
I like the design on the end of that. It looks sick. After the G.
Oh yeah, well yeah. You know why that's there? Because I was my kerning was bad. Kerning, if you're not familiar, stop me if you heard this. Leading is the space between lines. Kerning is the space between letters. So I like wrote it out and then started painting, and things got a little bit too compressed this way, so I had to give it a I had to give it help. That's what we'll call it.
Okay.
A little bit of help.
I get high with a little help from my friend. I get by with a little help from my friend.
But even the person that gets high with a little help from their friends, are they just out of money or they don't know any dealers? Or is
You
it
know, it may be both, I would say.
oh,
But
actually
you know,
2023?
it
I'll
can be
bet,
hard to find some dealers out there.
I'll bet in 2023, if you get high with a little help from your friends, it's because, and I don't know how this happens, you got turned down for the weed card. Your doctor knew what you were up to, and they're like, "You don't really have anxiety. I can tell."
Look,
They're like,
I really
"You don't
shouldn't say
really
this,
have."
but I don't believe you have PTSD.
Yeah, they'll just like fill in the blank. You don't have whatever it is you came in here with. was it Key and Peele did a little skit about that. It was like, no, man, you just go in and you tell your doctor you got something like whatever. And every time his buddy went in to tell the doctor what he had, it was never anything that corresponded to needing a weed card. And even the doctor was like trying to help him out, like, no, you don't mean that. You mean that you've got this thing, and he would still get it wrong.
Oh my gosh! Come on, even the doctor's like,
The doctor
that's funny.
I know what you're trying to say.
Sir, you mean to say you want a weed card without asking?
Because you have, you know, you're like, but I don't have that.
But you do actually, though, yeah? No, I don't have that.
I feel fine. Everything's fine. I feel fine.
Yeah. Why do I need a card again? I don't remember.
I don't know if I would want to cram anything else into this, but I have to put a clear on it. Well, I'll wait till it dries. I'll wipe off all of the pencil marks and put a clear on it. And then through some sort of a super secret messaging app, Cool Frog will have to give me his address, and I'll have to ship it off to him post haste.
The super secret messaging app is probably just emailing.
Yeah, or like a Discord private message, and then it'll be like immediately delete this message afterwards. They have like time set, like a was it Snapchat? Is Snapchat the one where the message disappears?
Yep.
There should be an option for that in like a private message, it can hang out there in a private message for however long until the person sees it, and then like 15 seconds is all you get. And if you can't read that fast, then too bad.
You're never gonna understand what I said.
Hey, so one of the spiders is on his arm.
It seems like it's a little hard to see there, so let me see. It's like coming down from his hand.
It's coming down from his hand. You remember seeing John Carter? John Carter, I think it was a Disney film. Taylor Kitsch, Dominic West was in it. A bunch of different people, but it was it Edgar Rice Burroughs? Is that who wrote the Fighting Man of Mars? I might be getting my like old authors screwed up, but there's this like kind of like cool technology. It was it like kind of crawled around their forearm and wrist like twigs. So if your character has spiders that he can just what would you call it? He has spiders that he can just divine from some sort of a other world or whatever. What if the thing that allowed him to do that was some sort of a symbiote, like a Dax in Star Trek?
Yeah, Venom.
It's like that thing that he's got on his arm was twisted around so that he was wearing the spider, and that the spider and him together is what gives him his powers. Because then you've got an automatic built-in Aunt May type thing. You've got an automatic disadvantage. What's the story? Well, the story is I lost whatever his name is, Otto. That was the name I had a tarantula. That was his name, Otto.
Otto, like Otto Octavius?
Yeah, it means 8. Right. I got what right? What did I get right? Post. Tarzan. Yeah, Edgar Rice Burroughs and Tarzan Rider. Okay, I got it right. Good. Man, I do not want to be a bad nerd in front of Outpost Nerd.
Right? Like he's the guy. He's the nerd.
Right.
Get it.
It would just sound wrong too.
Right.
Not nerd out.
All right.
I'll send you a sticker.
Here's Spider-Man.
I'll put that in the envelope. I just got these things from Sticker Mule. They're really pretty good. And this one here took a little bit of an extra like leap. I had to make sure that everything looked the proof that they gave me had some stuff blacked out. So I was like, you need to open that file in a different program or something because it's not coming out right. But let me get rid of this. Organize my paint kit here a little bit and pull out some different tools. Let me put the flammables away.
There you go.
Yeah. So whenever whenever I'm done with the brushes, this is in this jar here is 30 weight non-detergent motor oil. So I leave the brushes in that, and that keeps them from drying out. The last thing you want to put on natural hair, especially, is basically like when you're done washing your hair, you put it in conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
When you're done cleaning your brushes, and you're done dunking them in lacquer, thinner, and mineral spirits, that stuff evaporates, and it's kind of harsh on the brush hairs. So like these are made from blue squirrel or gray squirrel. Um, so you just kind of like dip it in this muck. I put my finger on the top and just kind of like drag off the excess and make sure that it's really, really worked in there, and just kind of put them away like that. And that's how you keep your pinstriping and sign writing brushes healthy.
Huh. How quickly can a brush like that go to shit?
I mean, if you use them a lot, it's going to depend on, do this stuff on the side. I used to do it full time. Guys that are using, and it also depends on the surface that you're working on. I know that most people that work on like a brick wall, they'll just grab the cheapest thing that they possibly can and grind the hell out of it. Your nicer brushes are going to be used for surfaces that aren't so rough. You can do a brush could last forever if you're just working on something smooth. But if you're using it all the time, and you're constantly getting paint in it and washing paint out of it and getting paint in it and washing paint out of it, the more you use it, just like anything else, the more miles you put on your car, the faster it's going to wear out. But I have a tendency to be obsessive compulsive about my tools, like my airbrushes. And when I put my airbrushes away, there may be chrome wearing away from the outside and the inside of like the color cup and stuff, but as far as its working order, it's brand new by the time I put it away. It's not hard to do. You have a routine and you stick to it. It's like yourself, how often do you shower? Once a day, probably. Sometimes twice if you're really nasty and doing like outside work. But it's the same thing with your brushes. They get a lot of work. You got to clean them out every time, especially if you're going to be using the same brush for another color. You got to wash that color out.
How badly can that throw off a design?
Not really. Well, like you saw what was happening before, the paint was drying faster than I wanted it to before it could come off the bristles.
Mm-hmm.
So it was giving me that dry brush look, and I really didn't want that. So I switched paint. It's funny because when I first started learning how to airbrush, I was outside at an amusement park in the middle of the summer, and something that I realized was the weather had a lot to do with how your paint reacts. The same way that it messes with your hair, like humid weather will be one way with your hair, and I need to find something wrong here. It'll do the same thing with paint. You know, like I did I used to do embroidery,
Oh,
and
cool.
where the embroidery machine was, it was like in a garage. It was not in a controlled environment. I told the guy too. I was like, "This can't be in here. You need to have this thing in like air conditioning. It's gonna get ruined." You know, the gears and the little tiny parts and little tiny components that make up a sewing machine. Well, you know, this is an embroidery machine. That's a sewing machine times 12, which is how many needles are on one head, times 6 if it's a 6 head machine. You know,
Sheesh.
and I'm like, you know, it's the seasons are going to change. It's going to get humid and whatever, and it's going to break the entire thing down. So I don't know if he really couldn't do it. There was nowhere else to put it. I was like, this is a bad idea. You need to keep this garage door closed and put an air conditioner in here. Couldn't do it because that's where the delivery. Anyways, it would do the same thing to the thread. You know, every once in a while when you're running an embroidery machine, you have these thread breaks. And in the summertime, if it was like really humid, you'd have more thread breaks than usual. Just because, it was humid. Okay, so is he wearing pants?
Yeah. No spandex on this guy.
Spandex.
We're an anti-spandex hero organization here.
Let me see what. So as much as possible, just a regular cat. It's a regular dude.
Yep. Regular ass dude. I didn't want him to be something crazy, like all these heroes today. He's just a regular ass dude. But here's his superhero outfit if he were to have one.
Yeah, the mask. I like that.
Yep. The mask, and then like a kind of skin fitting black top to him. More musculature than he would have in my current design for him.
Yeah, try not to see.
I dig this design of the mask and everything. It's just I'm trying to break away from the mask because the original Spider-Man had one.
Well, a lot of them do, but his eyes are not accurate to what a spider would have. It would actually have a few. In fact, I think it was one of those Spider Friend episodes. There was one of the bad guys was called the Iraq.
Oh yes, that guy. I know that guy.
And I hadn't, I had to, sneak it in on TV. I wasn't. And I remember having a big party. One of my buddies from school brought me comic books. My mother didn't know what to do with herself. What's she supposed to do? Like say those aren't allowed in here,
Yeah, right.
Like be rude.
Guess you got her on that one.
Good old Ricky Crunch.
Thank you, Ricky. True G.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen a comic book artist work?
You mean like in front of me work?
No, like just watch him work on a video or something.
Yeah, I remember. Well, going back to that same era that I was talking about before, that how they make movies thing. But there was this thing. This man, Nickelodeon was really cool when it was early. But there was this show called Livewire, and they had Frank Perez doing a drawing of a guy. It was just a head and shoulder sketch. And
Okay.
he just let some kid like, yeah, I want to make a superhero named Star Sentinel, which is a head and shoulders thing. He had like it was like a like a more royal version of a Vision. You know, it had like a gem in the middle of his forehead. And I understood totally what was happening. Was this guy had a limited amount of time. He wasn't gonna like create something that was any more than what you would get at a convention. Like $5.
Yeah.
He's just throwing down with a Sharpie marker or whatever. See, the shoulder needs to be up on his face. This is all too short. Biceps, forearm, and that. So, okay.
Nerd, you better get it right or face my nerdy wrath.
What did he say?
He said, "You better get it right or face my nerdy wrath."
Nerdy wrath. I'll bet that nerdy wrath has an awfully terrible rank to it. Has there ever been a bad guy that the whole thing is where he just smells bad?
Bacterian from Dragon Ball, the original
I'm not
Dragon
saying
Ball.
that's Outpost Nerds thing. It's just I don't know why my brain just went off on that tangent. But like if you're like facing a bad guy, sure they can hit you. You know what I mean? Sure, it could be like a Sandman, whatever, and you like it like be all violent and stuff. But wouldn't the most aggravating thing be that you just can't stand to be around them? Like, oh my god, I gotta fight this guy again. He smells so bad.
Yeah, this guy Bacterian in Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball, was a big problem in I think the first World Martial Arts tournament that they go to. He goes up against Krillin, and Krillin gets reminded that he has no nose. So that's how he gets to beat this guy. Everyone else, this guy is just like knocking out by his stench.
Leave it to the Japanese.
Right.
Yeah, like remember, have you ever seen Mystery Men?
I like this pose you got going
Huh?
here. I say I like this pose you got going here.
I'm still. I mean, there's only so much of it I can fit
Wait.
here. I have these four corners, kind of like this is where the camera is. It's a big piece of, like Bristol board. I got a big pad of it so that I could, mess with stuff on camera. But, yeah, I'm trying to do something loose. That's the thing. Like staying lucid for me is a little difficult. I have a tendency to zero in on details before I should.
Ah. I'm just trying to do a little bit of what you got going on here. It's interesting. I think this goes back further. Like to the back area. There we go. Like that. And this kind of dips down here a little bit. Okay, this guy just looks like he's swimming now. I'm going to do that. That sounds fun.
And this is a 2B pencil. Max Murrah sent these things to me. It's a little too hard. And
oh, sick.
It's very, very generous. Like we just ended up. This is the thing. Like I ended up talking to him about. I have no idea. It was like just this tangent about pencil lead weights, and had I heard of these pencils? And I was like, no. And then he ended up doing all of the footwork that it takes to find my address, and he sent me a dozen of these Mitsu with a dash in them, Mitsubishi, same diamond logo. And this is a nice soft pencil. It's basically a number 2 pencil, and then this high performance drafting. That like, you know what I mean? It was like I was blown away because it was just he just decided upon himself to send me a care package, and like, I gotta do something. So I spent some time drawing his name, and then I cut it. I scanned the design into Illustrator, pathed it out, and cut out some red vinyl, like what do you call them? Decals.
Mhm. Oh, you're going for the face wrap you were on about?
Huh?
Are you going for the face wrap you were on about?
Yeah, kind of like I have the eyes here. I like what you're doing with that with the eyes. And since I'm trying to make it go fast, I'm doing a profile, but I also want his shoulders. Like if he's got his arm is going straight out in front, and his shoulder is gonna hide like that bottom half of his face. I think.
Definitely from the angle you're doing.
Yeah, because then this trap needs to come down here, and this shoulder needs to get lower. This arm. Have you ever watched? I think I asked you this before. Have you ever watched the Monday Night Drawstring?
With who?
David Finch.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, you want to get blown away, like straight up, pure, unadulterated, 100% Canadian talent. Holy shit! Nice guy too. Like his wife does the stream with him. You know, like he just draws. She reads the stream so that he can like concentrate on what he's doing, and that's it. And you know, people that I said like people will ask a question about something related to art or anatomy or a position or something like that. He'll stop in the middle, drag some other piece of paper in, and do a little example of what, you know, to answer the question, and then go back to drawing. And by the time he's done, there's a finish, and it's physical, like this. You know what I mean? Like with the pen, you know, and pen and inked. You know,
Oh yeah, he's doing it all. He's doing it all right there, huh?
yeah, all right there, exactly. Like there's stuff happening here. I'm not really sure is correct. I'm still working it out in my head, but
Man, bandages are hard for me to get because like not all of it is clear where it's going.
um, zigzag the lines. Don't make them go straight.
Oh,
You know,
don't be
like
like
for
I'm doing.
instance, what?
Don't do like I'm doing.
Well, I can't see. Well, no, you have it right, but if you're trying to go around the head, they should be going more straight, not
Ah,
like
okay.
not like a turban. If it's wrapped around his head this way, you can. I mean, you can crisscross him a little bit, which you know you have to.
Hmm.
But I make these. Like my character he has Kevlar straps around his wrists. It's what his main weapon is connected to. So I had to get used to this idea, this concept.
Hmm.
I don't know if he should have an eye that close to the top of his head. Easy girl.
I haven't had to draw this kind of she too much.
I need to put this cold thing somewhere where I can draw and not get shit stuck in.
I just saw a really good eye wrapping animation in a movie that I had to go review the other
You went
day.
to review a movie,
Yeah.
professional, like a Gene Siskel, like the Chicago Sun Times is paying you for this.
Heavens no.
Ah,
Did you expect it to be that?
100%. My image of you is shattered.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Okay. No, what did you go see?
Um, I just watched this Jujutsu Kaisen anime movie, and I went and reviewed it with a buddy from Discord.
You had to
It was
go see it, or
Nah, I just pulled it up on the computer.
what'd you think?
It's really good, really well animated. A lot of the scenes. It's a good introduction to the series as a whole, and I think like people would be better off watching the movie first if they're trying to get into the series. Honestly,
Okay.
it's a better starting point than what we get in the actual anime.
So, what is it about anime versus Western storytelling that you obviously prefer?
I think it's that they develop the characters way more. Like Peter Griffin is still the same as when I met him, but Naruto or Luffy, Goku, all these characters grow in some way, shape, or form as the series goes on,
Yeah.
and that is just amazing. Like there's whole arcs and like background people that actually matter. Um, a lot of the times, nobody is just there to be there, and I
All right.
mean,
Yeah. So there's
there's,
no,
there's a lot of
just like fillers.
there's a lot of traps that people fall into in modern day storytelling. Um, some agenda driven stuff as well that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
And they can just tell a story that cannot be told in any other medium without spending a crap ton of money.
Well, you mean because it's animated and you're not throwing down for special effects, or it's just not a Hollywood budget type
Yeah, that well both. Like special effects are the entire movie essentially now these days.
thing? Yeah, sure. I believe it's way too much of a crunch.
There like there's video of what's his face, the guy that plays Gandalf, sitting in a like a blank green room, like
Yeah.
trying to do his lines, and he just buries his hand his head in his hands, and he just goes, oh god, like he just can't, like he's about in tears.
Yeah.
And that was on the set of one of the Hobbit movies, like just nothing there, just complete green
Well, yeah, and it
nothingness.
translates. Yeah, it's not real. Yeah.
And I mean, he's used to being flown somewhere and like acting out his lines in a real place that is tangible with real people that can bounce off of him.
Especially that soon after having done, like flown someplace with a character, like with the same character,
Hmm.
a real place. I think it. Would you think that Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow was the beginning of the end?
I did not get to see that.
That's the one where it was that the dude that worked in Hollywood was visiting one of his friends in Flint, Michigan, or some really depressed area in Michigan, and he had like 5 or 10 minutes of this of whatever Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow's genre was, which is like
Uh-huh.
old 1950s serial, whatever, and the whole thing is animated on the computer, and it was just Jude Law. The hell is her name? Um, who played Pepper Potts?
Scarjo or no? Um, oh, what's her name? The Goop lady.
Right. Well, Angelina Jolie was in it too, but it was she named her daughter Apple. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. She was in it. She was like,
Gwyneth Paltrow.
yeah, that's it. Um, so, and that was, in fact, there's like a whole Saturday Night Live skit of them just pretending to act on a green screen, and like it's that the entire thing there is about how it's just laughable that all they have to do is like, oh no, it's over there, no, it's over here, now look over this way. Everybody, you're supposed to follow a bouncing ball, so that you know where it is that you're supposed to look, because this is where the monster is going to be. really bad monster, and so you got to act really scared, even though you can't see it. We'll figure it out in post.
We'll figure it out in post. Gosh, that's probably something they hear way too often.
The time, yeah, we'll figure it out in post. We'll do it live.
Yeah, fuck it, we'll do it live.
Let's see, we want a big spider butt here. Legs come from the in between. There's a head. So and he's just got regular clothes, right?
Not this one, the superhero with the mask version of it. He's got like a skin tight kind of black get up with a leather kind of texture to it.
With a leather texture. You know what? That's always been one of my bugaboos. I know it's sort of like you draw it opposite light that you would anything else.
Oh yeah.
Sort of like that. I've always found that it was a little bit challenging for me.
I like shiny things. Anime in general is a very shiny art style. So I don't know, I think it comes a bit easy to me.
I know I've seen some pretty hard, well, especially when you're getting into the adult stuff. I mean, they put those like harsh white highlight, pinpoint highlights on stuff to really accentuate how round something is.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that before. I'm like, that's not how this works. That's not how this works.
That's okay. What'd she just get out of the shower or something? Come on.
They're always, everybody's wet. Right.
Yeah.
So this is going to be weak. Can't see down here anyways, so I'll just that, twisty, twirly. Yeah, that's actually something that I had heard David Finch say was talking about. It was a video of when he was talking about doing clothing, loose clothing, tight clothing, folds, and the way all that stuff works.
Yeah.
I heard him under the one-liner, "When in doubt, black it out."
Man, you see that a lot in comics.
Yeah, I mean, there's a right way to do it. Like when I first was airbrushing, the lady that was training me, because one of the things that you do when you're like airbrushing t-shirts is you're always putting little starkles on stuff.
Uh-huh.
Especially like when you want to highlight something. Again, like we were saying before, you want it to look round and shiny. You put a highlight on stuff, and it's one of the things that she had said that always stuck was, too many highlights is the sign of a weak illustration. You're trying to hide the fact that the drawing is bad in the first place.
Ah, true facts. I do feel like that sometimes when I'm putting the highlight, or rather, I don't know, like I feel like the highlights add to it in a way that it wouldn't have been added to otherwise.
Well, you want to, with highlights, you want to direct, not misdirect. Well, anything really, you want to direct, not misdirect. Your composition should be, and I'm probably not doing it here. I just want to do something that's inside the camera, like we were talking about before. There's this, kind of thing here, but my action is going all the way across. So really, this is it. I have a line going this way and a line going this way. So really, my focal point is oddly is here, like wherever these two things cross. I wonder though, how do you make a, a back interesting? I may be misinterpreting what my composition actually is, but I can hear the dog going crazy upstairs. Somebody must be home. My wife was supposed to get our daughter from high school. She had a band thing. She had a football game, and during while I was at, well, like I knew I had to do. I was going to do this later, and she goes, "Who's picking up our daughter from the football game?" I started enumerating things like picked up all the dog shit. I cooked dinner last night. I watched both of those Bachelor things with you. Blah blah blah. Like, ask me that question again. And then as soon as I hit send, I felt bad.
Right. Yeah. One of those messages.
Mm-hmm. See, his thumb needs to come up here. Raise this one back here. If you don't have one of these, I love these things.
What is this?
Nearly enough. This is an electric eraser. It's basically a drill.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Fun fact, these usually come with a plastic ring for the tension. You slide it up and back so you can get the eraser out. This piece of metal around here is an old earring. Stainless steel that the plastic ring on this broke when I was in art school, and I was like, well, I need to fix this, and I need to fix it now. And I used an old earring, and it stayed that way for like forever. There's like weird twisty knot in there. I don't know if it's the focus. It's worked forever. When in doubt, black it out. I'm just gonna black out this whole arm right here. Let's see. What is the costume part of it wear on the bottom? Like you said, it's like a tight shirt with a tight like spandex kind of a thing, right? But what are the pants?
Let's go some like baggy pants. I feel like would be good, like cargo pants.
So this is gonna come straight across here.
See if I can make my way down there here. Nope.
These are gonna have to be indicated somehow.
Okay. Oh, whoops.
Oh man, if you were in operation, that would be really bad.
All right, let's fix this. There it is. Try that again.
Which part are you working on?
Right now I'm just kind of trying to make this guy smaller so I can work on more of him. But I go all over the place.
I was just turning my head to the left because I mean, like, you get into your own thing and you're like, oh wait, somebody else is on the stream besides you and the thing you're drawing.
Right.
The person that invited you on, But I know what you mean. Like this, like that part of his rib cage is sticking out too much. And there's like this point where you're like, all right, stop everything that you're doing and look back and see if anything's like out of balance. Most of the time, it is. My big issue has always been that I want to be able to see every angle of the human body as much as possible. So I could draw this without this arm here, right? And just bring it
Yeah.
here and just and have some sort of like a black shape right there, and that would probably be okay. But then that would be like going to the weight room and not trying to see how much you can bench. But the problem is that it makes every pose unnecessarily complicated, and then flow of the story can suffer, the composition of the panel can suffer because you're just trying to be um, too much action
Extra.
not required.
Yeah, I made him too baggy. Too big too. Damn, his looks sick. See, it'd be cool to get to that level, but I feel like I'd need to really know the human body a lot more.
What level? What this?
Yeah.
I still don't know the human body like I'd like to. There's just the parts that I remember, and then like see how like this shoulder is really cut out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it should be because I'm only just I'm going to the happy place, which is light's coming in this direction. And I know a lot of people do that, so they'll shade everything on the lower right.
Yes, I love when the light is coming from the top left and a little behind, like a little bit behind and from the top left.
Yeah. Which means that this here is supposed to be. I also have to remember where the ribs are, and shoulder blades, and things. I know what you're talking about, and 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 to the earlier point, there's those parts of the human body that I love that are like my favorite to draw. And if I don't leave that alone, then the piece suffers. You know what I mean? It's like, well, he had to like draw this muscle, and he didn't need to because that's not where the light is coming from, and I need to be I need to want the the final product to be good, not have it. I want it to look right in the end. I want it looking right in the end to be more important than it feeling right while I'm doing it.
Right.
It's like this, these should all be stretching like this way. This is like all those tension lines. And this upper thigh, you wouldn't really even see the pocket on that side. So why am I trying to draw it?
Because it's fun.
Well, exactly. But I want that to translate too, but it has to make sense. This is going to be heel of the hand. I never actually used this kneaded eraser the way that I should. So it's going to be the ass of the spider that he's wearing here, head. Let's see if this kneaded eraser is doing what it's supposed to. It's going to, which is kind of blur shit out. It's making marks all over the place. Yeah, those little. So this is a piece that would definitely get light box because I'm dragging graphite from one part of the picture and depositing it in another part. Can you see this?
Yeah.
It's like smudges.
Man, I wish
You're not
I miss analog work, dude.
you're not the only one who's learning something new. Miss analog work. I've never. This is. I don't normally do it. The first two pages of my comic book have analog work, and that's the first two pages that I am the least happy with. I mean, the undo button makes things go so much slower, but you know, and I have like an old light box. It's very cumbersome. I don't honestly know if the light is strong enough to make it through a piece of Bristol board, but I see people doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, is that a real thing? Like does a light box just turn a piece of Bristol board into a piece of tracing paper?
What's the advantage to that?
Well, like for instance, all these smudges and stuff on here, I wouldn't have to worry about it because I'm going to put another piece of board on top of this, shine a light through the bottom, and I'll be able to see a faint image of what I just did. So the Bristol board would take the place of the kneaded eraser. In other words, I would be able to. You shine a light through the bottom of the first piece, and then you just kind of make a refined drawing on the new piece.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It turns whatever you're working on to a piece of tracing paper. but I've never done it. The thing that really sucks is I've had this light table here for years, and I never really got into it because I was always doing this other stuff that required leaving the house and painting on somebody's car or something like that. A lot of what I'm doing here right now is kind of new.
Hold up, ID. I'll be right back, man. I got something to take care of.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take a break too. I'm gonna run upstairs for a minute.
Sounds good. We'll reconvene soon. See you in a bit, chat.
How was it?
All right.
You just get back?
Yes, I did.
How about that? You peed for the same amount of time that I peed for. I don't know how much longer I can stick around. I want to see if I can get this thing into some kind of a semi finished state, but I have a
That's kind of what I'm aiming at.
well, my Saturday tomorrow is I gotta go to somebody's tractor, install a piece of vinyl, drop off some stickers, and the other thing. Oh, this thing I have to deliver this. So
Yeah.
I hope they don't notice the little thing down there. I don't know. I told him $100. He haggled me down to 75. If he's really upset, I'll say, just give me 50 and let me go because I got others. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's
Yeah.
little.
Like it's an imperfection,
Good
but
customer.
come on, man, just take it and go.
It's not even straight. Like when you look at it, like this is an old license plate. I had to sandblast this thing off and kind of like bend it back into shape before it was before I could do anything with it.
Hello.
Do you have a favorite like comic artist or Anime artist, or I think you mentioned anime storyteller, or I know you have a favorite anime, but I can tell you like my favorite Japanese artist is Jaime Soriyama. But
Yeah, sorry, man. I just missed like all of what you just said. Somebody popped in my room. What's up?
they did what room? What, this room?
No, like the room I'm drawing in right now. I had to mute out. They were talking with me. I had to take off my headphones and all that. Yeah, real life shit.
Oh, I see. Oh, is that how it is? Am I not real enough for you, Jimmy?
You absolutely are.
You need me to become more real for you.
In fact, the time you have taken to come out here and chill with me and draw is very, very real. And I again do really appreciate it.
No, see that. I wasn't even trying to get you to kiss up to me. You just went for it.
Yeah, gotta do it.
I appreciate that. In fact, I appreciate it so much. So I wonder if he can just spirit in spiders. Wouldn't he also be able to spirit in spider byproduct, not by with a web shooter, but just sort of
Just kind of drop it out like
it just shows up somehow, you know. Have you ever heard the ancient Scottish sort of true story of Robert the Bruce?
uh-uh.
Well, you remember Robert the Bruce if you saw Braveheart, he was the one that was hiding underneath that knight's helmet, the one that broke William Wallace's heart, which is based. I mean, there's precious little about Braveheart that's actually accurate. But Robert the Bruce, there was a moment during his exploits trying to you know separate Scotland from England, where he was like on the run and had to go hide in a cave, and the entire evening he was there, he watched a spider making a spider web, and it was the perseverance of that spider taking all that time to make everything just right, and all the bits of adversity that an insect is just driven by instinct to make that spider web. And if a wind comes along and blows on it, or something goes wrong, it still keeps working at it. It still keeps making that web. And it was that spider that inspired Robert the Bruce to finish his quest and beat the English out of Scotland.
Oh, that's sick. So what's his face didn't have much to do with kicking the English out of Scotland.
And you can see that that's a tattoo I drew up in like the early '90s, and my buddy put it on
Oh,
me.
that's sick.
It was a much more toned and sexier arm at the time. But like I'm looking at it on camera, I'm like, camera doesn't even add 10 pounds. Actually, it's like, what part of your body is that? It's just straight and undefined, and I don't see a whole lot going on there. Like, let me try to see if I can like, I can't flex. There's no, oh, there's a little bit. See that?
There you go. Yeah, you get it.
A little bit. There's a muscle there in there somewhere.
Musculature is a funny thing. It shows when it wants to.
Do you know how many times I thought to myself, if I just went to the gym and worked out enough, I could like be my own model. But then I was like, nah.
I am constantly my own model.
Wow. Oh, you mean you're drawing your like that's what are you saying you look like the guy that you're drawing right now?
No, not by any means. I'm saying like I'll get in a pose and I'll imagine what that would look like on the paper, and that
Yeah,
helps me.
yeah, exactly. I'll do this. I still even after like all this time, I'll still like, okay, wait, walking, which hand goes forward? And the left hand forward, right foot back. And then it's but I'll do that. I'll like stand up and walk across the room and I'm like, so the right foot back is right hip in the air and you know, right hip up, left hip down and yeah, every once in a while, you know, you got those brain parts where you're like, wait, how does the body move again?
What is anatomy? How does this thing work?
Oh my God, it's so bad. Look, let me see if I can. I love that. Some of these things, they really need to be. I ordered this again because I lent it to somebody and never got it back. And I've heard
Oh,
that people will like draw this book, draw this whole book. By the time you're done copying this whole book, you'll be good. Brigman's life drawing.
huh.
Uh, Hogarth, Vern Hogarth. This is awesome. Dynamic light and shade. Great book. Oh, there's a complete book of truck lettering. This one's worn out pretty good.
So if there were any art book that I should definitely
Atlas of the human body.
be getting, what would it
Well,
be?
it depends on what you're trying to do. Even this is crazy. This thing here is a lady that I went to church with. There, she gave me a little inscription here. Her stepfather wrote this book on water, just water. The whole thing is about different ways to illustrate water.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look at
It's
that.
right. The whole thing is water fountain. I remember seeing my art teacher do something like this. Like, how would she do like a waterfall? And she just took the pencil on its side and went like that, and it was like, oh, it's in motion now.
Sheesh. Yeah, my art teacher didn't like me.
Painting mist. Well, you don't like instruction. Is that why? Was that it?
Maybe like she would tell me to use these grid lines and I'd just do the assignment without the grid lines.
Oh, well, if learning how to do grid lines was the assignment, yeah, but you can't use them all the time. Same, Bridgman, Heads and Faces, just a book on heads and faces. Great book. But there is, what is there? Realistic drawing series, Designer's Guide to Marketing and Pricing, sign painting. Don't fall over, please don't fall over. I'm pulling too many books out at once. Look how thick this is. I found this for $5 or $6 at a used book place. It's a lot of text, but every once in a while you see somebody like, this is how you make a side kitchen table alternative, jack of all trades, red sables, quills, ox hair brushes, brush care. Um, all this, you know, like, and there's the amount of time that there is to go through all these things. You know, it's funny. I've never heard a woman tell me that I have a problem with committing. But if all of the women that I ever knew was my library of books, they would sound different.
Right.
Because I mean, I have to say that I haven't read them. I have. I've read them, but reading them is a lot different than studying them. You know, it's like the Bible. Did you read the Bible? Yeah. Did you get it all the first time? Did you understand every single thing about it the first time? No. You know why? That's why people study it. And I should be doing that with those. You know, going through it more thoroughly. Let's see. So yeah, like I should bring down that dynamic light and shade so I would know what to do here. Oh, but you were asking me like one book, like the first book that I ever read about how to draw. Um, it's not really a drawing book. The first one that I had was a Gray's Anatomy of the Human Body, and I only really concentrated on where all the muscles and stuff work. Um, but people will say the Marvel book, Marvel, How to Draw the Marvel Way, is pretty good because it's not just concentrating on anatomy, which it doesn't really a whole lot. It will show you like proportion,
Yeah.
but if the thing that you're trying to figure out is proportion, then I would say Bern Hogarth's dynamic figure drawing is really good. Um,
I could basically use touching up on everything, like proportion,
well, yeah, you need to
shape
start.
and form.
You have to start somewhere there. Like most books on how to draw comics are going to concentrate on um, composition and panels and things like that. But if you
Mhm.
need your bodies to look realistic, or at least have a some kind of foundation, the Brigman book on figure drawing is good. But this one here is I really like this one. There's also a book that I don't have, but I do understand the concept of it. It's drawing with force. It has to do with tension, and I think we talked about it a little bit before the last time. But this will kind of give you like this is one of the principles of the Brigman book. It's one block this way, one block this way, and this is good posture here, and that's how you have somebody like standing. If they get into this is one of the things too. The
They're so bubbly.
They are, but that's this. I think he's trying to exaggerate that so that you understand things like this muscle is stretched out this way, this one is stretched out that way, but more importantly, that the distance between your shoulder and your elbow is the same distance between your forearm and your elbow, and it's the same thing with your leg. From your hip to your knee is the same as from your knee to your ankle, and
Mhm.
sometimes people can miss out on how that works, and also the curve under the arm and the curve under the forearm. There's let's see if I can find it here. Oh yeah, like this. When you're talking about a leg, see this basic drawing here.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that it's mostly straight going through here, and that your bulges happen on the outside thigh and the calf? So
Yeah, as I'm drawing
so
bodies, I'll
you
kind
can
of
see
realize
it's
stuff
not
like
just
that.
it's not just like the bubbliness of it, but they're giving you like the arrows of the direction and the way that certain portions of the body play off other portions. This here, I mean, it's the most complete book that I've ever seen. Brigman book is really good too. It doesn't look as mechanical as this. Um, like these are really good examples. They have it blocked out in certain portions and fleshed out in other portions.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is a good book. Dynamic figure drawing by Bern Hogarth. Um, if you're talking about figure drawing and figure drawing basics, this is really good. Yeah, the head is last. You know, motion stuff. But I
They
mean,
they draw
they're
the head last.
if I see a good book on how to draw comics and I see a couple of good pages in there, I'll end up buying it, wearing it around my neck like a good luck charm. I mean, I know I'm supposed to read it, but that's usually what I feel like is happening. Like, this is a really good book. You spend money on it. You just have to believe in it. Yeah, I've got like Comics Crash, cutting edge comics, Comics Crash Course, Joe Kubert's Wonderful World of Comics, Drawing Hands and Feet, Clothing on Figure, Comics Sketchbow. That's something my wife got me. That's actually kind of cool. That's just a bunch of blank pages with panels already drawn out, which nobody really does. The DC Comics Guide to Penciling. It's weird. Like, I should stop naming off all these books because anybody that sees is like, he's got all these books. How come he's not making comics? Job with good benefits and everything that I understand about like the comic industry now sounds like I lucked out. Like, it was like providential that I didn't get any comics because I'd be starving. I ended up getting into airbrush instead, and it's a whole other it's a whole other world. You end up when you do airbrush stuff, and it's like t-shirts in the mall and shit like that. You end up doing everything that everybody else created. You know what I mean? Like, if Batman is popular, that's what you make. When Valentine's Day comes around, you do that stuff. You're a slave to whatever is popular at the time or whatever the holiday happens to be. Christmas is huge. And you're so busy doing everybody else's crap that you don't have time to do what you're doing. Like what you're doing, making your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a long, hard slug too, because what you're doing isn't paying any bills.
No,
I don't imagine, right?
I get nothing for this. Yeah,
Right. But you might get something for it someday. And
yeah.
I'm not even saying like maybe not this character, but you come up with, so that's what I'm trying to do. Like, you come up with a character that you think is unique and you zero in on it and make a story, and you see these guys doing it. In fact, so like some of these we're crying out loud. What's the one that Shane Davis is doing right now? A Cell or a Rise or um, I can't remember the name of it, but I saw pieces of it on Tumblr. Like, he has a Tumblr profile. I don't know that he pays attention to it or anything like that, but he has some images from a while ago of this comic book that he's working on now. And it's just like it's been forever. I actually have an inked piece of it as it rotates into my desktop images. I keep pencils. I'll find pencils from like Jim Lee and Bart Sears and other artists that I like that I don't really know anything about. I just know that I like their stuff. And just pencils, not inks. Sometimes the inks sneak their way in there, but I just rotate out cool pencils from different artists. And one of them is old time. It's from years and years ago. A picture of the thing that um, Shane Davis is working on now, an original concept, original character, and um, it's been out there in his head, in existence, for a long time. I think he proposed it at one point, and nobody took him up on it. And so now that this whole independent thing happened, he's decided to just, all right, straight. This is it. I'm not doing what I do. Starlight Cats. Um, shit. I actually own one of them too. I own the other one. The one with the monsters. Um, Inglorious Rex. He did that, and now he's doing this other thing. But it was just like out there in his head, waiting to be done until he had the time and the money to do it. The thing that's weird about the independent comic book thing is the amount of people that are willing to wait for the next issue, because it sometimes will be over a year before you find out what happens.
Right.
You know? And on one hand, I'm like, I want these people to do good because we agree on some like foundational things and they're just a one-man band and I've been there before. But I'm really like thinking about how to navigate the politics of what's going on is one of the things that has me like a little apprehensive. Like if you want to get help from one of the big names, on one hand, you don't want to piss anybody off. On the other hand, you don't want to kiss anybody's ass. And somewhere in the middle there is two people understanding each other and having a mature relationship and agreeing to disagree on certain things.
Right.
But without being an asshole about it. It's so strange, man. I like when I got onto Twitter, I mean, first I had to figure out how to use it, which if you've never been, just like any other social media thing, they all have their own little pieces of nuance, and this is how this works, and oh, I see how this is similar to this one, and this is different from that one, all that shit. The amount of unnecessary drama, it's not like it doesn't bug me. It honestly kind of like intrigues me, because you're like, aren't you at some point just trying to figure out how you know how the human being navigates its way from one end of society to the next? And morals is a thing, and being truthful is a thing, and um, standing your ground on stupid shit versus letting stupid shit go. And like, for instance, the people that come down on Eric July for bothering to make a comic book at all, like, what is that even?
Jealousy. It's jealousy.
I guess. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out. Because I followed the whole thing. I got a copy of it, and it was okay. I didn't think that it was the best comic book I ever read. I think it was worth the money that I spent because, it's a completely different model altogether. But there's this people are not being honest about what was promised. I made a comic book. It made $4 million. And that's because he's got a huge following. I made a comic book and it made $4 million does not automatically mean I made the best comic book in the world. It just means that a lot of people believed in me enough to make this much money. I tried to do a review on it, but it was right around the time where I decided that I wasn't good at doing that. So I took them all down from YouTube. I don't have any comic book reviews up there because I know that I don't know what I'm talking about. But there's a couple of like one or two flaws in there. Like there's a word balloon with a missing tail,
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody that was honest about what was going on as far as like this panel should have been this, if you're trying to convey that, and people who are a lot smarter and well versed than me were doing a much better job at critiquing this comic book. But the thing is like that book has been out for a while, and he's still doing like number 2 and number 3, and it's going to keep going. And there's just this like, why do people not want it to work? That's the part
They
Why?
like seeing people trip and fall. It's the same people.
It doesn't even have to be Isom. It's just it could be anybody. Why does anybody out there not want, like, I can say like about some of the most garage band ground level, you did it on your own and it looks like you did it on your own. Like it's almost like these things need to be scored the way that Premier Soccer is scored. Like I know that I'm not in some championship ring. I don't think I'm at the bottom of the pyramid. I don't think I'm at the top of the pyramid, but I'm fighting for my spot, to the extent that I can or have time to or whatever. But it's like the idea that somebody's actually trying is never taken into account. Okay. Rick Piper, great guy, huge heart. He's made a couple of it like different books, like the Canadian Shield and forgetting the other one. It's somewhere. Snowdrift. This is one of his. He signed it. You know, okay. It needs work. He's drawing it on his own. Okay, he's doing what he knows how to do, and he has a nice big fat set of testicles because he's willing to put that shit out there, and knowing that it's good. Like anybody who's going to critique that comic book based on something that Marvel or DC would put out is not being genuine. If you're going to, like critique that book against another ground level book, okay, well then fine. But at that point, I'm just happy that he has more experience putting out a comic book than I do. I've never put out a comic book. I've only ever
Mm.
just like done art. And putting out a comic book and being able to navigate, what's the file format, talking to the printer, and all those relationships that you're supposed to keep, whatever, running a campaign and fulfilling. I fulfilled products before. I've never fulfilled a comic book, but I do have a product that I fulfill for like other pinstripers. It's not that hard. I put them all in an envelope, stay flat envelope, and wait for somebody to buy one, and then I ship it, and that's it. It's not a 50, like 5,000 comic books that I need to pack up. And I know he's not doing those numbers, but he understands how it works. Anybody who's fulfilled a campaign, he gets it. Those ground level guys like Timothy Olsen, they they're putting themselves out there, and that takes a lot of courage, especially in this environment where anybody in social media is just willing to tear you a new asshole for no apparent reason, because like what you said, they are envious, and they're not even envious of somebody's raw talent. They're envious that they've actually got the balls to do it. And
Yeah, well, they want to see them trip and fall, like I was saying. They
yeah, they
love
want
that.
to see them trip and fall, because that means that anybody who is waiting for any other creator to trip and fall, they're doing that so that they can justify their own cowardice. And that's why I don't do anything. I don't do anything but criticize anybody else because I don't have the balls to make anything myself. And now once you actually nail that down, it makes you feel sad for those people. Like this is what you're left with. Your entire legacy is just trashing people. But
And they're good with it. They're totally fine with that.
you built nothing. You built absolutely nothing with your life. You had all these years, you had all this opportunity. You claim to have all this knowledge about how this stuff is supposed to work, but you did absolutely nothing with it. All you did was trash somebody else for trying. And like I said, with those, I call them garage band. They're garage band level. They're raw, just like Metallica used to be. I'm not even a fan of Metallica. I'm more of a Megadeth guy.
Okay.
But it's that thing. Like Rick Piper knows who he is. Like he recently. I mean, he's actually going through some shit. He lost his mom recently. he went to see Dillard. I don't even know where Dillard is, but man, one of the on the spot videos that Rick Piper did, he was doing from a freaking bus station. I was legit scared for him because some crazy person was talking in the background. You can like see it in the chats. Everybody's like praying for you. Be careful. You're in a Greyhound bus station. Like when you're in a Greyhound bus station, you're just asking for trouble. But if you happen to see him on Twitter, he's like going through some stuff with his mom passing away, and there's a GoFundMe up there that Dillard started. I whatever. Don't let your right hand know what the left hand is doing. I'm just saying it's up there.
Oh, there we go. My internet seems to be dying fast. I think this may be a good spot to call it there. Good ID, sir.
No, that's cool. I wonder if I'll ever finish this someday.
We should do this again, actually.
We could do that. Yeah, you let me know when it's convenient for you, and I'll let you know if it matches up.
Hell yeah, man.
And then
I'm gonna be dog sitting a lot this month.
When I look at this from the monitor, this looks like a boob.
A boob? Which part?
This scapula, this low-hanging scapula right there. I feel like that should be like, that when in doubt, black it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that should curve down in. Well, I need to. I'll read my Vern Hogarth's Dynamic Light and Shade.
The top of the scapula should be curving in and then up, right?
Yeah, but then it's covered in muscles though. So if you're talking about the straight up the bone,
yeah,
but that's not what you see. The scapula's got a ton of muscle attached to it. That's like when I say scapula, I'm just kind of talking about the general direction.
Okay, you're talking about the traps above the scapula.
Well, the traps are. This is the trapezius.
Yep,
here.
right there. That's where I'm aiming.
The other part of the V. My spine is. Let's see if I can get this right in the camera. My spine is doing this.
Yep.
Yeah. So really, this kind of should be blacked in more. And you said it was a black shirt anyway, so it's already a challenge. But no,
yeah, I had to.
What is it over here? It's like midnight over here.
As if you can see this, I had to like make it gray for the black, and then use actual black for the accents.
Right. Well, and if you can, nowhere near the microphone. If you can, like once you learn your anatomy and you've got a pretty good stranglehold on it, you should be able to like start, like you were saying, like if you go the Simon Bisley route, start with a gray, medium, or darker, and get your general shape in, and then work darker and lighter, or lighter and darker. Bisley has a tendency to do that. When you see like when he does a Hulk, it's like there's a medium green, and then he shades one side and highlights the other side.
Like the 70% rule with shading.
I've probably heard that in a class somewhere, but I don't remember it, or it's new.
I think I heard it online, but it's basically a type of shading where it's where you see like part of the cheek lit up a little bit. I use this a lot. But most of the body will be completely shaded, and then a little bit of it will be like open to the light.
Okay, well, yeah, if you're talking about like just like a real like a mysterious kind of a shading, like mostly dark. But that's what that dynamic light and shading is for. Are you on Pinterest at all?
Yep. Remember you told me to grab one of those? I got one recently, and I've been using it for reference drawing lately.
Dude, isn't it crazy how much stuff is there?
Oh, it is pretty wild. Let's
Nuts.
see if I can pull one up real quick.
It's nuts. I mean, and it's not just that. Like, I was going through there. I'm looking at hands, I'm looking at feet, I'm looking at all this stuff, and you go down this rabbit hole, and there are people who are like not just concentrating on what like a super skinny or a an obese figure, but this is a pear shape, this is an apple shape, this is a, you know what I mean? Really getting down into the weeds on how to draw skinny this way and skinny that way. It's, I think it's one of the, on one hand, it's one of the greatest things to happen to social media. On the other hand, Pinterest can sometimes suck a D based on their politics.
Yeah, I saw some messed up stuff on there already. Oh, excuse me, already. Here's the drawing that I did from reference on Pinterest here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that style. It's got that Jimmy D style.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it does. I do find though that if I was to critique generally, I don't know that there's 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 your stuff has a tendency to lack a looseness. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see me starting off to draw this, I'm kind of drawing this circular shape and this circular shape, and I want to keep my hand kind of moving lightly and moving along so that there's always movement and things like, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Do you start off, and as far as this particular image goes, did you start off on something loose and then tighten it up on another layer and then tighten it up on another layer above that? Or did you just go straight in and draw it?
My internet died again. So what I did was I started with a rough layer, and that I did all in red.
Good.
And then from there, I outlined that layer, like, and fix all the things that look wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I have my solid lines, and then I start a color layer after the lines are done.
Yeah. So I guess maybe the next time you're looking at a reference, see if you can find the natural movement in it. In fact, look for this, and then I'll let you go. You can see. I'll do it over here. Look for
Yeah.
this. Look for this line.
Do you mean
And
the gesture? The gesture line?
this?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not. That's actually a bad version of it. You know, it's that. I don't want to call it like lifeline. I can't remember what somebody else called it, but it's like a life motion line.
Yeah.
It's like a natural, like a French curve, and you can find it all through like animals and people. You know, it's
yeah.
and that the not the Bern Hogarth, but the Bridgman Life Drawing book, it's through there too. They explain it.
I like when artists use only the accent lines, or what did I call them? The accent.
Yeah, you
Dang,
just said it.
I know I just said it. Dang it, I hate
That
that.
line, neither of us can think of because we're
The
both
gestural
right,
lines.
right,
Like
right.
when they purely use those, it is so cool.
Yeah, right. I know. That's why I like. There's something about uninked pencils that is. It's like it's a little bit closer to mind reading, unless you're trying to mind read an inker. But like,
Yeah, it's
because there'll
almost
be that thing like some
more
guys will black out
incorporeal.
entire areas, and then other guys will just know. You know, they'll be like, oh, this area here, I want the inker to. That area there, I want the inker to make black, so I'm just going to do this. You know, and in their head, and it's probably through experience, in their head they just know that that's all going to be black, and they don't have to pencil that. It makes it really efficient, and the end job, it still comes out looking good. But anyway, so that's, you know, that's a whole other thing. Not me. I have to actually figure it out for myself right here.
That's still a really cool render you did there.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
I really like
Maybe
the
maybe the next time
accentuation.
we do this, I'll finish it.
This dramatic movement of the hips is just really cool. This whole twist of the upper body,
Right.
I really
Yeah.
like this.
what is it? Left leg back, left arm forward. Yeah. Right leg forward, left arm forward. I got up and walked around and then figured it out. Yeah. But no, if you need to go, that's fine. I'm actually starting to fade here too, and I got to get up and make sure all this stuff gets delivered and applied and painted and blah 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 blah. And I need to get before lunch, but
Well, thank you so much for joining me, man. This has been a blast.
Thanks for inviting me. I look forward to the next one.
Really enjoy the insight you bring. Opens some perspective into all this.
Dude, we talked about a few things. In fact, I need to get a bottle of water. My throat's dry. It's really true what they say, man. You start going off and talking and stuff, and like before long, you're like, "Give me some lemon and honey water tea type stuff."
All of a sudden, your voice,
Exactly, some throat coat, yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, you have a great night, and chat, you have a great night. I appreciate y'all joining us.
And that feet, man. Keep scribbling, keep drawing.
Yes, sir. Next drawing's probably either going to be tonight or tomorrow.
That sounds good, man.
You have yourself a great night, sir, and I will catch you the next time.
All right, man. God bless. Be good.
You as well. Vaya con Dios.
All right. Talk to you later.